as I travel this life alone. Two paths both unknown, for what already has this life shown. The first step I diverged from normalcy, no paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say. Less traveled, dark and cold, I came upon a fork in the road. I pondered, both mind free. The fall had come, for yellow is the autumn tree. Both I long to travel, for I'm but one I could not see. For both were bent, the overgrowth and canopy. Where will destiny lead me? The first step I diverged from normalcy, no paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say. I began my journey on the road less traveled. Regret haunts me at times, looking back wondering where the other path myself would find. But both paths are traveled equally, for many take the zombie road to normalcy, and others seek individuality. From the wear on the trail it appears 50-50. With every footstep came pitfalls and risks, rewards and opportunities. Looking back, what did I really miss? The first step I diverged from normalcy, no paper cut out life for me. I did it my way, not much more to say.
There's no place for old men, a breed going extinct, as the youth coddles each other and love appears to be in the air. Breeze singing and trees living, a time of generations dying. The sea is full yet so many are falling, born to die in neglect with their unaging intellect. Two ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go. I shall transcend this life so bold. How age makes a man invisible. He wanders alone, tattered as his clothes. Forgotten soul finds song in his heart. Monuments of magnificent, the seas have taken me to Byzantium. Two ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will shall transcend this life. So bold. Sages standing in holy fire, spiraling as the masters of my soul sing. Desire overwhelming, don't deny but consume my heart. I know not what it is, but take me to eternity and unknown things. To ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go, and I shall transcend this life so bold. Once free from this body, I'll never come back again. Not to this place I'll be where goldsmiths work. To entertain the lords and ladies of Byzantium, it matters not what is the past, or what is passing, or is to come. To ages to be forgotten, the world is promised to the young. I will travel to eternity where age cannot go, and I shall transcend this life so bold.
Mother Mary, full of grace, full of grace. I don't want to be left in this place. I confess my sins again and again, brought down to my knees. Please, Father, set me free. I know you see all the pain inside me. Rosary, Mother Mary, can you help me? Please, God, don't forsake me. Remember me, holding on tightly to my rosary. I'm a sinner, from cradle to grave. Jesus, I hope it is I that you save. The tears I've cried regarding my life, please, Lord, don't cut me out of the book of life. Rosary, Mother Mary, can you help me? Please, God, don't forsake me. Remember me, holding on tightly to my rosary. My repentant heart bleeds, my spirit cries. I'm completely dying inside. My sins are great. I dread the fire lake. Forgive me. What will it take? Reach for me, oh Lord, in my weakest moment. All of thy own. Mater Maria, potentny miłe.
All right. Welcome to Paranormal Roundtable. I'm your host, Josh Turner, and this is PRT. Join us in the real reality. Oh my gosh. I mean, I am so tempted to call some people out on not living in the real reality. I can tell you right now, there are some people who do not do it.
A lot of those walking around.
Man, I'm telling you. Some of the stuff I saw on the internet earlier today was just so goofy. Man, people, you know, to me, it's like if somebody wants to believe in something, they're going to make themselves believe in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, if
they
you repeat
don't,
something to yourself
then
enough,
they're just not going to do it. Hang on one second, folks. We're right back. All right. Let's get some people in here. Thank you, JoJo Cover. Says, Wolf's going to give us a great show. Yeah, and don't forget, tomorrow night I am going to be on Blondes and Booze, and I'm going to be bringing on a new co-host, someone that I'm going to be doing some work with. Hopefully, she's going to be my co-host for about 3 episodes. Tomorrow night, Friday night, and Saturday night, and we're going to be talking about the Gypsy Rose case. Vampires. I mean, it's so weird. It is a weird subject, dude.
Yeah.
Folks, it's the first episode is tomorrow night on Blondes and Booze. You have to check it out. And then there's going to be a lot of mind-blown information, I think, on our channel on Friday. We're going to be here on Friday. And then Saturday, I'm going to be over on BMR's show. So, yeah, it's going to be a full week of PRT, but we're going to be not on PRT tomorrow, but you'll get me and my new co-host. This person is going to be doing some work with me and probably Nelly on the Random Files. Now, I know a bunch of people have said, oh, I'll talk about the Random Files, but we're not really doing anything with it right now. We have some music on there, and there's a few other things, but we have plans for it. And now that I think I've found the right person, because we've been kind of looking for this other person that we need to help us do this. And so I think we found somebody. So it's probably going to be me, her, and Nelly, and maybe you guys and Natty too every now and then on there. But it's going to be, I want to go down the true crime rabbit hole from a spiritual standpoint. You don't see anybody doing that.
No, it's always.
But now that I said it, they're going to run out and do it and go, we thunk of it first. We did this. We're the best at it. And the algorithms favor us because we don't talk about none of this. There could be, That's what it is.
Yeah.
We talk about real stuff, and the YouTube algorithms don't like it. The bots, the Smiths, they're like, Mr. Turner, you could have just been like all of the other YouTubers, staying clear of things, not saying words like kill or die, caring about people's feelings, letting people have 886 genders. You could have done these things, but no. You could have just let certain people of certain persuasions be in charge. No, you had to. We have to have the sunglasses on, but I don't have the sunglasses.
Oh, yeah.
You had to be that guy. There we go. We got some. We got some sunglasses here. There it is. You had to be that guy, didn't you? You can turn that light on. Yeah, maybe it'll help. Maybe it won't. Probably won't. Talking about vampires and werewolves. Not content just to talk about the occasional ghosts or Bigfoot. No, you had to take it all the way. You know what the problem is with people like you, Mr. Turner? You actually give a shit. While everyone else is happy just to bury their head in the sand, you have to take it a step further. A serial killer is just a murderer. Why does it have to be a demon involved? Why? And you bring up the J-Man quite a bit. That's a problem, Mr. Turner. Your opinions and your facts are an inconvenience to the Matrix. So we're going to suppress you into oblivion. How do you feel about that? I'm like this. I'm sorry, what were you saying? I'm sorry, are you one of the haters? I mean, you're wearing sunglasses. Some of them wore I don't know. Are you one of the haters? Are you one of those guys? That's when he gets really mad. He's like, I have had enough of you, Mr. Turner. This entire Matrix tribunal type thing in this skit is I've had enough of you. And now you want to branch out and explain other things to the plebeians. What do you have to say for yourself? I'm like, oh, dude, he didn't catch it. Damn. Yeah. I'm sorry. What are we still doing this? I'm sorry. I was watching the Texans game.
They got to cover the spread here.
Yeah,
Mine.
This is important for me.
Got money on this.
You said something about I'm a bad guy. I hear that quite a bit. What's up?
Yeah, but check out CJ Stroud. Have you seen this, man?
that Texas defense is cold-blooded. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Smithberg. That's all I'm saying, Mr. Smithstein. I'm sorry. I'm too base. Sorry about that. That's fine, Mr. Turner. We will relegate you to the ranks of the abyss. And there you will stay. And those that smear you and speak lies on you, we will elevate them. The more lies, the more they get elevated. I'm like, yeah, I kind of figure that's what you're already doing. Is this a threat? This is already happening.
Oh, this is news?
This is new?
Huh.
Is this a new development? That's all right. Oh, well. The Texas game was cold-blooded, though.
Yeah.
That defense lit the Steelers up. I mean, even if they don't win, next week against New England, which I think they will, but at least we got to light the Steelers up. And they beat a lot of teams that I don't like this year, like the Ravens and the 49ers and teams that I just don't like, they lit them up, dude. That's awesome. I'm glad. They got to beat a lot of teams that I don't like. I think they beat Kansas City, too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they play New England this year? I don't remember if they played them or not. I know they beat Buffalo already once this year. That's a tough team, man. Patriots are a good team, but they're going to have their work cut out for them if they're going to.
That defense swarms.
Yeah, that defense is just – dude, they were so brutal. The hitting.
Oh, man.
You could feel it. Like, I felt bad for Rodgers, man. Like, Rodgers out there 42 years old. Every time he got tackled, he got up like, and then when they scored and there was like 3 minutes left, his eyes did this.
I gotta go back out there?
Yeah.
His eyes lit up like, not in a way of like, oh, shoot, they scored. The game is over. It's out of hand now. He was like, freaking, dude, I'm about to retire, man. I want to be able to move my legs and shop at Target or something. You know what I mean? Like, I felt bad for that dude. I said, man, he's about to go back out there and deal with these monsters some more. But DeMeco did him a favor. DeMeco Ryans did him a favor, pulled some people out. He said, it's all right. We'll put some second, third stringers in there. It was still brutalizing them. Then they showed Autry on the sidelines talking about that fumble. He was like, and then I picked it up like it was a rotisserie chicken. I ran it all the way to the end zone. I ate it in the parking lot. You can see that's what he was saying.
Yum.
Jojo Co says, no, New England will win. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Unless that young quarterback has some sort of magic ability to stop these monsters, okay? I'm going to tell you right now, this defense is like the 85 Bears defense, dude, okay? Stroud, folks, granted it was the Steelers. They've had an up and down year, but the last few games they've done very well. He fumbled 5 times. He is one of 2 quarterbacks in the history of the NFL. In the entire history of the NFL, there's another one. You can look him up. There were 2. He's one of 2 quarterbacks who's fumbled 5 times and still won the game. And he's the only one to ever do it in postseason. This dude literally like tried to give the game away, and the defense still just didn't let him do nothing. They didn't score a touchdown.
5 fumbles and only 2 field. I mean, come on, that's impressive.
That's
6 points
crazy,
overall.
Bro.
That's
and they got the ball down there a few times. They just couldn't punch it in. I mean, it was just. I'm telling you, it's not normal.
No, the other one was Eli Manning.
Eli Manning did it. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Eli Manning was the only other quarterback in the history of the NFL who's ever fumbled 5 times, and then they managed to still win the game. And you're sitting there going like, man, that defense, dude. Now, I'm not saying New England isn't going to win. I'm not saying that they don't have a chance, but their offense, that dude, I'm telling you, dude, I mean.
They got the work cut out for them.
They got the work cut out for them, and beating that defense. They got a good defense too, a really good defense. So that may be the difference. New England's defense may be able to put a stop to Houston's offense. If Houston's offense don't get their shit together, they could lose. But that defense, the Houston defense, they hurt people.
They're nasty.
They're nasty, dude.
And
I'm telling you.
I think one of the announcers said it, but I don't know if it was Troy Aikman or Joe, but they're saying like they show you exactly what they're gonna do every time, and then they do it, and you just can't stop them. It's a 4-man rush.
Mm-hmm.
They put 4 guys out there. They don't. It's
And
not
they,
like
and they do a lot
hidden.
of five defensive backs.
Yeah.
Two linebackers in the middle, and they just let the.
Yeah, they don't try to get cute with it. They're pretty straightforward and
Yeah, he threw Stroud
not hard
through.
to read, but they just force it through.
Yeah, Stroud threw a touchdown, but I think they scored on the run.
Yeah.
And then the defense scored. I mean,
They scored twice.
Points, man. I mean, it got out of hand real bad in the 4th quarter. Like it was close up until like the middle of the 3rd, and then it just started. It was like, even though it was close. I was like, this isn't going to stay this way, because that second to the last drive where what did I say? I said the Steelers are going to start panicking.
Mm-hmm. They're going to throw
the ball everywhere. They didn't intercept it right away, but they eventually did. And I think a young quarterback like that guy in New England, I think he's going to throw. I predict two picks.
I think that was Aaron Rodgers' last literal play.
Yeah.
Was that interception?
I think it's over. I think that they're going
No. I actually felt really bad for him.
Gary says the only defense that compares Houston to Seattle. Seattle defense ain't as good as Houston, dude. This is a generational defense. I'm telling you, like the Bears defense, even though the Niners won 4 Super Bowls in the 80s, there was one year where no team on earth was going to beat them, and that was in 85. The only team that did it was the Dolphins, and they came close to playing them in the Super Bowl, but somehow the Patriots They got by the Raiders, who might have been the only team that could give them a chance. And then they managed to beat the Dolphins in the AFC Championship. And so, to me, the Patriots were the worst hairball the AFC ever coughed up in the 80s. And if you look at it in the 80s, there was only one time that the AFC won. And that was the Raiders, when they obliterated the Redskins in 80. People always say the year of the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And let's get it straight, something that football people don't know. If it was played in 83, it's from the 82 season.
Yeah.
Okay. I listen to this dingling talking about Texans is going to be so good in 2027. We're going to win the national championship. I was like, you might win it in 2027, but it's from the 2026 season. I hate when people don't know football. They don't, because they talk about the Cowboys were the champions in 94. They won it in January of 94, but go ask the Niners who won the 94 season. Okay. Won the Cowboys, the Niners, they cheated and the refs helped them, and that's how they did it. That's history right there. But, that's just what happened. Goofy ass Bronx. I can't stand Bronx. I cannot stand that dude.
He's annoying.
Never liked him when he was with the Cowboys. Never wanted him on our team. Just didn't want him to go to the enemy, so you had to pay him. Give a little skinny leg turd his, whatever.
Jerry Rice didn't even like him.
But, I mean, the bottom line is this. They won the Super Bowl in the 94 season, but it was in 1995 when they technically won it. Somebody tried to tell me the other day the Cowboys hadn't won the Super Bowl since 96. I'm like, they didn't go in 96. Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. No.
Yeah, but it was for the 95 season.
It was for the 95 season, but they played it in Tempe, Arizona in 1996 in January. So that's what happened. But people don't know football. 96, though, the Cowboys were really a good team. They just lost to that Carolina team, and they had some injuries. What's crazy is that they gave the Panthers and the Jaguars everything in that expansion draft. They shouldn't have. They gave them the Jaguars ended up with Jimmy Smith, who was our receiver of the future. He was our guy, and then we lost him. Every time I watched him score a touchdown, I was thinking he should have been ours. But no, the NFL, the most corrupt organization in the NBA. Corrupt sports organizations, in my opinion. But, I mean, what are you going to do? Waiting for some people to get in here. I could say this, that year they beat the Patriots and the Packers, who were the two teams that went to the Super Bowl, and they beat the Niners in San Francisco. The Cowboys had a good team that year. They had a rough start. But they had a really good team. They should have done better than they did. They should have at least been in the NFC Championship. But, a bunch of people got hurt in that game.
What was the worst year you think they've ever had? Like the worst Cowboys team you've ever seen?
89.
89?
1-15.
Yeah. That's pretty bad.
Jimmy Johnson, he took over in the Cowboys' darkest hour, and then he turned them around. That's hands down, 1-15. I mean, Aikman didn't even get the win that year. It was Steve Walsh.
Well, his first start was like terrible.
No, I'm talking about the season.
Yeah.
Because in one of those games, he got sacked 11 times by the Eagles. The Eagles were bullies. I mean, we thought he was going to die before they even managed to do anything with the guy. So teams can really get – that was because Tom Landry these people that are like, I quit watching the Cowboys when Tom Landry left. I was like, well, you're a dumbass. Tom Landry overstayed his welcome by years. Years. And the goofy old fucker, he should have walked away. If he would have left 3-4 years before that and just stepped down like a normal human being, instead of just going out there and being a fossil and rolling out the worst teams ever, and just standing there with no emotion on the sidelines, dude, I never liked Tom Landry. I mean, as a kid, in the 70s and 80s, everybody was like Tom Landry. I never liked the guy. He just, I don't know, dude. He was so cardboard, dude. It was like, you can't get excited about a guy like
when
that.
you're watching football.
No, dude.
You want to see like some excitement, But like, he was always just like expressionless.
He would get on to his players that showed too much emotion. Like Butch Johnson, I think, was one of their greatest receivers. And he stifled him because Butch would always be real animated.
Yeah.
And Landry would be on the sidelines like.
You got to get worked up. It's football. Like, if you're playing.
Man.
It's a competitive sport.
So that's what you do when you have a guy like Landry. You don't. But when he left, I was young. I was and I was happy. I was like 14 years old, and I was like, oh, thank God. I was like, dude, he's overstayed his welcome like big time. I mean, you can't just go out there and do that up and down, we're the Cowboys. Nobody gives a shit. Look at the fight game. You can't walk out there and be like, you know who I am? Yeah, you're an aging champion, and that young guy's going to beat the shit out of you. They're gonna whoop your ass because they're hungry and they want to make a name for themselves. And that's what was happening. The game had passed him by. And you had 3 NFC championship losses in a row. Why even go? I'd rather not go than be embarrassed. The Eagles in 80, and then in 81, it was the Niners. Of course, people are going to say 82 because they don't know they don't understand how it works, obviously. But then in 82, it was the Redskins. That was the strike season. And at that point, you could see the writing was on the wall. Then they stumbled around for 84, 85. I think they won the division in 85. And the Bears came to town and beat them 44-0 with the monsters of the midway defense. I watched that game as a kid, and I thought, there's no one going to beat that team. There were some Niner fans that, everybody always jumps on the bandwagon.
Uh-huh.
There was a few of them at school. The 49ers are cool. I was like, dude, the 49ers are going to play. The Bears are going to die. Yeah. They're going to die. Montana and Rice better get life insurance policies. No, dude, those Bears, that team. And then at the same time, the AFC manages to, like I said, cough up the worst hairball that has ever been the Patriots. Some team that stumbled into the playoffs, barely made it, and they were like wild cards, and they just kept shocking everybody and winning. And then they played the Bears, and they're like, yeah, we're the underdogs. We're going to do it. They had those red and white uniforms, and it was just the most horrific massacre. Like, I quit watching that Super Bowl after, like, the second time the Bears scored. And then when Refrigerator Perry ran the football in, like, when they gave him the ball, let him score a touchdown, like, I had gone back and I was watching it at that point. I was like, oh, this is done. Because as a kid, I would watch the big games,
Yeah.
Oh, it was horrible. The only defense I ever saw that came close to that one, since then, the 91 Redskins had a damn strong defense. But the Cowboys beat them that year and showed that they could be beaten. They were susceptible to the deep ball. If you had, because like the Cowboys did it like 2 or 3 times in that game with Alvin Harper, he outjumped the Redskin defenders. And they had what's his name? Really good. What was his name? That defender, Darryl Green. They said he was the fastest. It didn't matter. Alvin Harper outjumped him. Mm-hmm. And so there was a play where he did that in the end zone. They call it the Big Ben, and the Cowboys beat them. They just beat them in that game, and so they were susceptible. And the Patriots had some good defenses over the years when they won all those Super Bowls, but really that was an offensive system that was put together by Belichick and executed by Brady. But the defenses did good, and then there was the Ravens defense, I think, in 2000. Or 99, 2000, those Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, those guys, crazy good. Saragusa on the line. I mean, they were just murderous. The Buccaneers in 02, that defense was nasty, bro. I mean, whoa, boy, Derek Brooks and Booger McFarland and Warren Sapp, John Lynch, Aronde Barber. Dude, when you played those guys, man, you were going to they would just beat the hell out of you, dude. The Raiders, of course, in 83, they had Howie Long and what's his name? Lyle Alzado. They had guys like that. Those were some nasty defenses, but I think the Bears 85 defense was probably the best. This Houston Texans defense is as good as I've ever seen, and I've been watching for years. So I'm just telling you, man, if you're a Patriots fan, have fun. It was fun up to this point. Let's say that. If you may get to the next round, but you ain't gonna have your quarterback. Your quarterback's gonna be in there going like, oh. You'll be like, what's wrong? You have gout? What's wrong with you, sir? You're 23 or 24. What's wrong with you? He throws up his spleen. We won. Yes, we won. Yes, you did, sir. Now lay on that stretcher. Let's give you a blood transfusion and remove that spleen. That's what's going to happen. My prediction for the game, pain. Lots of it.
It's going to be like an NFL blitz game.
It is brutal. Some of them hits that the Steelers were taking, they need to give them hazard pay.
Yeah.
Not that the Steelers, they were no chumps on defense themselves. I think Sawyer and T.J. Watt are as good as they get. But those are some bad white boys right there. They got some pretty stone-cold killers on that defense. But they don't have enough. They didn't have enough to stop Houston. I mean, Houston's defense is just nasty. You got to think about your health when you're playing against certain teams. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was always one of the nastiest people on my team. Any team I was on, I was like I was the guy. You got to watch that guy. He is mean. He's brutal. And then you'll come up against a team, and their whole defense is just a bunch of U's. And you're like looking around, you're going like, oh, shit, dude, this whole defense is like that. I played some teams where they could block me if they double team me. And most teams try to double team me. I was on the defensive line, and it didn't work. It didn't work. I could beat double teams all day. When they start double teaming you and it works, then you're thinking this is going to be a long day. Mm-hmm. That's when you know you were going to lose in the playoffs. When they had guys that could double team and beat you, because they always had to double team me, or they'll pull up the halfback, fullback.
Mm-hmm.
I felt bad for him because that's just a what's it called, a speed bump. I just run him over. I broke one of them's arm. I just killed him. He was laying on the ground, rolling around. I'm like, man, I felt bad for the guy, but hey, kid, don't stand in front of me. I'm a freight train, and I'm gonna get that guy, right? I know a couple times I just tackled the halfback and the quarterback at the same time. It was just grabbed him and grabbed the quarterback and took them both down. I'm gonna tackle whoever. And there's a bunch of people that would get in there and they try to hold on to me. I would just turn their arm in a weird way, way it's not supposed to be turned, and they would get tackled. I would throw them into the quarterback, tackle them. There were even times when I'd overshoot the quarterback and I'd reach up and pull him down by his jersey. And when you got pressure coming from the middle like that, you got problems. So we had a nasty defense. We were pretty good. Different places that I played over the years, we were pretty good. We played pretty good. I was on different high schools, and I played some in college. I mean, you can't keep your hands to yourself. That's my problem. Nobody wants to deal with that. And I'm like, no, dude, this guy's a troublemaker. If I could have got my shit together, it would have been different. And then I would see people that I played against, and they'd be like, why are you not? Where are you playing at? Do you think you're going to be playing Division I somewhere, or you're, Ben Fricky? Ben Fricky was a good friend of mine. He played for the Cowboys. He coached, he coached a high school team out of West Texas, and he died of cancer. But you can look him up. He was a guy I played against from Anderson. And he was shocked. I ran him into a Taco Cabana. He was like, what are you doing? I'm doing security. He's like, really? Weird things happen on your way to the NFL. It doesn't work out, right? I think there's a lot of people who don't get to where they could be because of their F-ups. Look at Josh Hamilton of the Rangers,
oh yeah, man,
Texas Rangers baseball team. He was drafted by Tampa Bay. I don't remember what year, but you know what he did? The little shit. He went and became a crackhead for 2 years, 3 years, something like that, and was washed out. And then he got his shit together. By the grace of God, he got himself together, and he ended up playing for the Rangers. When he was playing for the Rangers, they had to have a guy that would go with him all the time.
Yeah.
To make sure, and he couldn't have his money.
Keep him on the up and up.
No cash.
Yep.
So he wouldn't smoke crack, because as long as he didn't smoke crack, he could play. And by the grace of God, he did. He had a great career. When he left the Rangers, he didn't do as well because they didn't do that. They didn't have somebody that watched him and chaperoned him. So crazy stuff, man. You never know what could happen. Great athletes, and we never see them play on a big stage because they have issues. Like I had issues. Nobody wants a head case out there. And my thing was just always getting into fights. But I feel like I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, like I didn't fight at the Dairy Queen there. I didn't. Y'all know about that.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. My friend's girlfriend got hit, so I was trying to do what was right. I was trying to get away from these people. They ran me off the road into a car wash, and then we ended up, maybe things would have been different. But God had other plans. God always has other plans. He has a backup to your backup to your backup. God, you make plans and God laughs, right? That's what they say.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do what you want, but I'm going to tell you this. I've been around a long time. And when I tell you something, take it to the bank. Indiana is going to beat Miami in the national championship. I don't know how bad, but it's going to be bad. Those guys on the Miami line are big, but they're slow compared to those fast, strong defenders. They think that just because those guys are smaller on that defensive line of Indiana, that they're not going to be able to get around those monsters. I faced bigger, stronger guys my whole life in football. And you know what? If you're strong, big don't mean shit. You just shove that weight out of your way.
Yeah, there's very much a difference.
I mean, I outlifted guys that were 3-4 inches taller than me, 100 pounds heavier than me. That don't mean shit. That just means that you got a little more work to do, because those guys on the Indiana line, they have redefined college football. I told you what they were going to do to Oregon, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I told you. And what did I say? I said Miami was going to be Ole Miss, didn't I?
Yep.
But Ole Miss, I'm going to tell you what, I will eat my words. And if Miami loses, I'm correct, right? Miami loses, I am correct. Indiana wins. I'll tell you what I'll do. If Indiana loses that game, I'll wear a Miami Hurricanes hat. I don't like the Hurricanes. I don't like them for shit. I like Jimmy Johnson. I like Ray Lewis. I like Mike Irvin. Chris Stovall. I like him. He's great. I like all those guys used to play for him. Vinny Testaverde and Steve Walsh. We were just talking about him earlier. They're all Hurricanes. But you're going to lose. 2 touchdowns. Write it down. Go to your bookie, whatever you got to do. And I do believe that the Texans-Patriots is anybody's game. You can flip a coin. It's going to be a defensive battle. But I do believe the Patriots – this is what I think. I predict they're going to jump out ahead early. Mm-hmm. The Patriots will. And then the game is going to bog down. Houston's going to get themselves under control, and it's going to be a defensive struggle, but then Houston's going to start beating them up. And they're going to do what they do, and that's make people afraid. What I tell you, when you're in sports, folks, and this is not just about football, this is about the show, this is about life, about anything. You got to make it to where when you're facing your opponent, they rethink their life decisions. You know what I mean?
Make them pay for everything.
If they get in the ring with you and they hit you, you hit them in that liver so hard you bust the damn liver loose. That's what you got to do, man. You got to make them pay. They got to start rethinking their decisions. They're going to be like, why did I get in the ring with this guy? Why did I think that I could fight this man? Why did I think I could play ball against this guy? You got to get in the head to the point where they start thinking, I just want to survive this game. I don't know what that's like, but I know what it's like to make other people do that. I've hit people and they just went down and went, oh, and they do make weird noises and stuff. And you're just standing there kind of going like, I just had this habit. I would always, when I would knock down somebody, I would just spit my mouthpiece out and chew on the end of it. I'd be sitting there chewing my mouthpiece, watching these people, waiting to see if the referee is going to be merciful and let them get up, standing, whatever bullshit they need to breathe and live. So I could finish what I started, because you really should think about your life decisions. You thought you were tough. You thought you were a badass. And now you're feeling pains in your organs that you didn't know existed. That's what you got to do. And if you're training somebody and you're a coach, tell them this, because I've coached a lot, and tell them that other team, that other player, whoever it is you're facing, the opponent, the enemy, whether it's, the devil, you got to make sure that those demons know that they should never, ever, ever in a million years have messed with you. Go pick a different target. Make those hyenas wish that they had chosen another person to pick a fight with, because that has to be the order of the day, because that is how you win. And you don't ever show them anything. Don't show them anything. When you're fighting them, you have to make them understand that they don't care anymore about winning. Once they give up on the hope that they're going to win, you know what the secondary thing is? Do you know what they turn to? Survival. And while they're busy trying to survive, you're busy winning. That's war. That is what it is. And all of these sports is really just a microcosm of war. So while your enemy is focused on survival, you're focused on winning, dominating and destroying them. The bad guys, they have to be dealt with. That's it. You could be nice and give them chances. I've done that before. And then what do? They spit on you the first chance they get. They spit the blood right in your face. That's it. Done with you. Go get mercy from somewhere else because I'm done. I've given you everything I'm going to give you. Now I'm just going to give you the pan. And that's it. And once they start rethinking their life decisions, yeah. I know a thing or two about that. I've never really I've been the receiving end of an ass whooping in many different arenas. And you know what I was thinking? How am I going to make this up? How am I going to get this? I'm going to get these people back. How am I going to do this? This will not ever happen again. It's going to be a one-time thing. And I'm going to show people it's a fluke. And you get back to the business of beating that opponent. But you don't quit. You give them everything you got, and you walk off that field knowing that you left everything out there. I hate when people are losing and they just start fiddle farting, half-assing, and they lose interest. You have no heart when you do that. You can show the world that you have as much heart and strength in you and as much power, and you have as much God-given ability as anybody, because there's an art to taking an ass whooping too. There really is. We've been punched in the gut more times than I can count here at PRT. We've been stabbed in the back. They've tried to cut us every which way they can. But you know what? We keep fighting. We keep coming back, and we keep showing up here, and people keep showing up and keep watching the show. It's never going to stop. And then, you know what they do? They start trying to figure out what's going wrong. Why is this, the whole list of reasons. Maybe we're just stupid as hell. No, that can't be it. Maybe we started something we shouldn't have started. No, that can't be it either. Maybe we're just evil. No, that definitely can't be it. No, maybe that's all three. Maybe you should just left us alone. Because Anthony told you, you don't want to go to war with us. We did nothing to you. Leave us alone. Thank you, Hot Rock. That's exactly it right there. And now we're going to talk about this. Here's what happened, folks. We got enough people in here. We got the chat going. If you're watching this on a replay, whatever, you know where it's at. I don't care. You can fast forward through it at the beginning. We had to get some people. We only had 321 people in here, so I had to get some people in here. Because after 300, we start talking about it. But then people, they always want to start like, hey, what's going on here? There's 3 hours into the show. No, thank you.
Did I miss the stories?
Yeah. And then they'll say, well, they didn't even tell a story. Yeah, because yes, we did. So here it is. So this story, y'all know this one. I mean, a little bit about it anyway. This comes from Bentonville, Arkansas. Do you know what Bentonville, Arkansas is famous for? Besides being full of artsy-fartsy liberals now? Walmart.
Is that where it started?
Sam Walton decided to make Walmart. That's what he did. Walmart is now an institution in this country. Everybody knows that.
Sure.
But Bentonville, here's the thing about, if you've ever driven through Arkansas, the whole state is full of cross-eyed hillbillies and beautiful trees. I am joking. The trees aren't that beautiful. Look, I'm just saying it's a very pretty place, right? I have a bone to pick with Arkansas because I'm a Texas Longhorn fan, and the Arkansas, they hate the Longhorns, but they don't care about it. They just want to beat us. They're just like Oklahoma and A&M. All they care about is beating us. They're like the Spider-Man villains, where they're just obsessed, kind of like my villains.
It's like Detroit. Like they could suck all year long.
Oh yeah, but the Cowboys.
When they play the Cowboys, they're just
they're right there. Then the next week they lose again.
Even when it's a game that means nothing,
they take a break from losing to beat the Cowboys.
Yeah,
play really good. Play your best game against them, and then lose everything. So here's what the deal is, right? I don't like the Arkansas Razorbacks for nothing, but I do appreciate the Arkansas people themselves. They actually are pretty resilient people. And this guy, he's a lifelong Razorback. He made sure to let me know. He's been around for a while. He's about 10 years older than me. But here's the thing. He was living out in the Ozarks. Bentonville is situated, and it's beautiful. I've been through there a couple times. It's really pretty. I've been there maybe 3 times. I think we went through there. I think we went through there. I think we did. But I've been about 2 or 3 times. But anyway, I had a friend that used to live up in that area, and I went to go visit. And the biggest town around there was Bentonville. So we went and we walked around. That was back in the late 90s, early 2000s. This guy lived out in the country in a beautiful spot. His wife, unfortunately, had passed away. She died in a car wreck in Tennessee when she was on a trip. And here's the sad thing. You never know what life's going to throw at you. He declined to go because he was tired. He goes, that weekend, he goes, I had worked on the Saturday. He was an electrician. And he decided that he was going to take it easy and stay at home, and he let his wife go to a conference, and a bunch of rain hit. And she passed away. She died in a car wreck. Yeah. That was 15 years ago, or a little over 15 years ago. But very tragic, very tragic. But him and his wife had 2 dogs, Sammy and Molly. And Sammy was an old basset hound that puttered on for about a year and then passed away. And they had that dog. They got that dog when they were first getting together. They had the dog. They each had children out of wedlock. He had a girlfriend. This man's had a very sad life, who went away into the military, to the Air Force, and died in an accident. So that was very tragic. And he had a daughter that was 2 years old. And she ended up going, because he had some issues at one time, and he ended up beating his demons. He had a drug addiction. But his daughter ended up being raised up in Texas by her grandparents, who he still has a relationship with to this point. Eventually, she did come to live with them, but she didn't like Arkansas, and she was used to going to school in Texas. I think it was Longview or something. So she ended up living there. His wife had a son, and he lived with her ex-husband, her ex-boyfriend. And he always, it was weird because he always accused her of having cheated. And, so this guy that told me, his name is Jeremiah, the guy that told me the story. And Jeremiah says, he goes, by the time the kid was 10, he looked just like his dad. He goes, I'm not joking. So the guy relented, and then he wants custody of his son. Right? And it was right around the time they were getting together, and he lived in Arkansas. So she was going to have to move to Arkansas because she lived in Mississippi. And they were dating, long distance, whatever. And so he decided he was going to stay with his dad. And he said about that time, that's when the dad, and he said, I can't complain. It's unorthodox. He goes, but I'm still friends with this kid and his dad. We're still friends to this day. And I can see why. He's a very gentle soul. He's a very soft-spoken guy. Nothing really weird about the guy, that I could detect. I was trying too. I was like, what's your favorite color? Oh, really? Purple? Huh? Yeah. Is that a psychopath's color? No? Okay. I was trying to see if I could find something weird about this guy. Why would this guy? But I couldn't. And the guy, he's a pretty on the level guy. Was in the reserves, military reserves. That's it. He became an electrician, and pretty decent guy from what I could tell. And his ex-wife seemed like she was a really special person. He said, but he goes, Wolf, when my wife died, a part of me died. And that's, if you really love someone, it's impossible for that for you to not feel that. There's pieces of me that have gone to the other side. I'm telling you that will never be back. I am not the person I was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago from all the people that have passed away. But losing someone that you really love that's close like that, that's a horrific, hard thing. And he said we were as close as two people could be. He goes, 99 out of 100 times I go to that conference with her, to that craft show. He said, and then when I didn't, on the way back, something happened. And so he said, it changed me. He's like, and he goes, the night, when I got the call and I ended up having to go, and he's like, I come back, my neighbors said that my dogs just would not stop barking and crying. He had had Molly for 2 years. Molly is their border collie mix. They don't know what the mix is. They just know she's part border collie. They know what the mother is, which is border collie. But the dad, he thinks, is some kind of hound dog. But she's a very pretty dog. She looks like a border collie, but with floppy ears. This is a very pretty dog. And Molly is a very special dog. He said that whenever my wife passed away, my dog Sammy, who was really her dog, he goes, it was just very difficult. He goes, and without Molly, he goes, I don't know what I would have done. He goes, and then we got Kevin. And Kevin was his little weenie dog, which is funny because I saw somebody on Facebook the other day that I think they had a dog named Kevin, but I can't remember if I was dreaming that or what. But I thought I saw somebody. So when he said he had a dog named Kevin, I told him, I said, this is not the first time somebody's told me they had a dog named Ken or Kevin or Bobby. I've heard some weird names. But yeah, so this dog's name is Kevin. And he said, when I got Kevin, he had a heart murmur. She had like a weird condition. And he said, I didn't realize it. He'd be running around playing with Molly because Sam passed away. He's like, and I didn't remarry. He goes, I tried dating. It just wasn't for me. I didn't feel comfortable. I didn't feel like any of these women could take the place of my wife. And I wasn't looking for that. He goes, but I did want companionship. And he goes, and eventually I did start dating someone. But it was 4 years down the road. And hang on one second, folks. I got something going on with work. Hang on. Oh, hang on. Let me look at this email real quick, or text. Hang on, guys. I'm going to take it over for a second.
Yeah. Oh, thank you, Simon Johnson. He says, hey there, Josh and the crew. Absolutely love you guys. Keep up the great work. Big love and respect from Bristol, UK. We got a lot of people across the pond who join us.
Thanks
Even with the
everyone
time difference.
who donated tonight.
Okay. All right, we're all good. All right, sorry about that, folks. I have to monitor the phones while I'm doing the show. I know it sucks, but it's a fact of life. So he said he had this other dog. His name's Kevin. He said, and me and Kevin got really close. And I had to ask, I said, why did you name him Kevin? He named him after a friend of his that had passed away. He had a friend of his that had died. He had a condition. They didn't know it. And here's what's weird. And I'm not saying that this is the case here, but his friend Kevin had a hole in his heart. And they didn't know it. And so then he was out jogging and he collapsed and never got up. A year later, he gets this dog. And this would have been 2 years after his wife had passed away. He gets this dog and he names him Kevin in honor of his friend. So it wasn't just some weird random, because Jeremiah didn't seem like the kind of guy that would just go, yo, I'm going to name my dog Kevin.
Yeah.
And he said originally he wasn't going to name him anything weird at all. He was just going to name him whatever. So anyways, he said Sammy passed away. His dog Sammy passed away, but Molly and Kevin were really close. And Kevin was a little black and brown wiener dog, a little dachshund, a dachshund, I guess, however you want to pronounce it. But he said that we would go on these long walks. He goes, where I lived was beautiful. North of Benton was northeast, I guess he said. Very beautiful place. And there were these trails He's like, and certain times of the day, he goes, the front of those trails, there would be people every now and then. There'd be people out there walking around. He goes, but after 6 o'clock, like it starts getting dark. He goes, there's nobody there. He goes, and I would always come back and it would be almost dark. He's like, but I never went too far afield because Kevin had a heart problem, which is weird. He found out from the vet that he had a murmur. And he thought that, he goes, oh, that's weird. He goes, my friend that passed away had that same sort of, this story gets kind of weird, right? Most of them do, but this is really weird. So he said that he would start getting tired and he was terrified that something was going to happen to him. So he didn't want to leave Kevin at the house. So he would pick him up and start carrying him. And he goes, and he's a fat little dude, man. I was overfeeding him. And he was overweight. And he goes, and I was like, this dog's exercising. He's not losing weight. I'm feeding him too much. He's like, and my mother was like, you should, put him on a diet. And he's like, I love my dogs, but Molly ran around so much that she didn't gain weight. But Kevin did. So here's what happens. He's like, I'm taking him home, right, one day because he's panting and tired and his little legs can't carry him. He's like, and I turn around and I look and Molly is nowhere to be found. He's like, and then I'm like, where is my dog? He's like, and I'm looking everywhere and I can't find my dog. I'm like, I can't. He's like, I began to panic. So I put Kevin down and Kevin just takes off running into the brush. And I'm like, oh, that's great. He goes, and I'm calling and I'm calling and I'm calling and they don't answer. He's like, and I'm not far from my house. He goes, in fact, I could see my house and it was dark. And I called and I called. So I ran back to the house. And I grabbed a flashlight and I came back out and I was really pissed. I was aggravated. He goes, I don't hit my dogs. And I don't either. I told him that's a good thing. You don't hit your dogs. But they do need to learn discipline. You can't have unruly dogs just jumping on people and doing all kinds of crap. And you got to teach them. And there's ways to teach your dogs without beating their ass. Now, I'm not against doing this to them on the nose or something. But I don't want to punch or kick or hit or slap or any of that crap because some people do that to their dogs. And so the dogs disappear and he's like, I am livid. I am so mad that my dogs did this. And I don't know why they did this. He's like, and I'm out there and I'm tromping through the woods. He goes, and finally after an hour and a half of just wading through thick brush where Kevin had ran into, I just gave up. I turned around and I said, you know what? I'm a devout Christian. He's like, I'm praying to God. I'm like, God, please, in the name of Christ, I'm asking you. He's like, I do pray. Just like that. He goes, I prayed in the name of Jesus. I was like, help me, give me my dogs back. He's like, and so I decided to go back to the house and call a couple of my friends and see, it was this couple that I'm friends with there in town, that they would come and they had a golf cart. We could ride around the trails and maybe we could find them. He's like, because it's weird. I don't hear them barking or growling or anything. It's totally bizarre. So I get back to the house and there they are, both of them, just sitting there in the backyard. He goes, and I thought, what in the heck? Am I going crazy? Am I losing my freaking mind? How did they get in the backyard? I have a big privacy fence. Somebody would have had to unlatch the gate and open it and let them go in there.
And they're just like nothing happened.
And they're just sitting there panting like nothing happened. They wanted water and they went inside and they ate, they drank, and they were just as happy as could be. And he's like, I just counted my blessings. He goes, and you know what? For about a week, everything was fine. I didn't go back out to the trail, he goes, and I realized, you know what? I'm going to have to put these dogs on a leash. I would let them run around. He said, I couldn't do that no more. He goes, so eventually I went to the pet store and I grabbed a couple of collars, which Kevin already had one, but Molly didn't. She wasn't used to it. She didn't like it. And I put the leash on her and she fought me. She didn't like it at all. He said, but it had to be done. He's like, and I told her, I said, look, you're not going to go walking if you don't allow this to happen. This has to be, right? He's like, so I take my dog out for a walk. He's like, and at that point, my daughter had come to visit. She had just gotten there that day, and it was me and her, and we went and we got the collar, and she's real good with my dogs or whatever. And she's like, and my daughter's already like an adult at this point, And she's like, and so we went for a walk. We went for a walk. He's like, and it was weird. He's like, I didn't understand what had happened, like how they ended up in the backyard. So I told my daughter, I said, I don't understand how this could have been. It doesn't make any sense. He's like, and we just both were talking about it as we were walking, and we were racking our brains. And we get to the spot where Molly had kind of gone off the reservation and disappeared. And she starts barking and growling, and her ears go up. She has these folded ears, and they kind of look funny when they go up.
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking off into the woods like she sees something that I don't see. And he goes, and even little Kevin, he's not even looking in that direction. He's looking off the other side of the trail. And my daughter catches a glimpse of something black and short and wide, sort of like, painted, like she thought that she had seen a black dog in the woods. She goes, "Oh, there's another dog there, Dad." That's what Molly's barking at. And he was like, "I didn't see it. I kept scanning and looking. I was like, I don't see anything." So we decided to just, come on, let's go, get the dogs under control. And we decided to keep walking. Molly was having to be drugged at that point, almost to the point of laying down and being very defiant. So I got aggravated with his behavior. And I said, you know what? We're just going to go back to the house. And when we get back to that spot, Molly decides to dig in and literally lay on the ground and not move. So I went up and I picked her up and I just took her. I said, I'm just going to carry you the rest of the way. He's like, it's not that far. I can see the house, He's like, and we get back and I just put her in the backyard and forgot about her for a couple of hours because I was just very pissed off. And I was like, I don't want to deal with her. You're going to act weird. That's fine. He said, about an hour into me and my daughter talking and just catching up, we're drinking coffee. And she's like, and our neighbor had invited us to go eat dinner at this place there in Bentonville. And he's like, so I'm like, okay, we're going to go eat. Right. And before I could even get settled in, I felt like something was wrong. Like something wasn't quite right. He goes, and I kept getting up and looking out the window. He's like, and my daughter knows I have a bit of OCD. So she's like, Dad, are you okay? Are you just, OCD? He's like, no, I keep thinking there's something in the backyard with Molly. And my daughter looks in the backyard and says, I think she's fine. I don't know what's going on. But she's always the one that reassures me that everything's going to be okay. He's like, one time I had a surgery where they had to take something and they go up in your artery or whatever. Mm-hmm. He's like, and I thought it was the end of the world. He goes, and my daughter was the one that was there. Her and her boyfriend are really good people. And they came and they helped me through it and convinced me that I was going to live. It was a minor surgery, but it still was something they had to stick into my artery. He's like, so I didn't want, he goes, but I'm that person. I'll start to worry if I'm left to my own devices. He's like, and at this point I was definitely worrying because I could feel it. He goes, this isn't one of those things where you look back and go, oh, I knew it. No, he goes, I knew it from Jump Street. And I knew that it had something to do with what had happened the week before. One thing and only one thing happened in that week. And he said, and it was literally 7 days. From the time that it happened until my daughter came, it was 1 week. And he said that one thing happened. He's like, when I go to take a shower, my dogs love to go in the bathroom and just lay there and look at me. He goes, I get out of the shower and they just stare at me. And they get up when I get out and then they move around and they think that we're going to go do something magical. And usually it's just me laying on my bed watching TV. Then they lay there and look at me like, this is it? He's like, and if they stare at me long enough, I'll eventually give them a treat and or take them for a walk or let them out in the back or something. So they know they're going to get something out of me because I'm a big softie when it comes to my animals. Believe me, I know, I understand. So he says that I'm sitting there and I'm noticing that Molly is just moving around, kind of jumping around. She's mostly black. She's black and white, like border collies, but she's mostly black. And he thinks that she's got something mixed with her, like maybe it's a lab. He's not 100% sure it's with something else. But he said that I noticed when I looked at her in the mirror for a split second, it wasn't Molly. And I'm like, whoa. And he goes, and I turn and I look at my dog and I see her there kind of wagging her tail looking at me. She looks confused, kind of like, because they can read your face, especially border collies. They're very smart. And he says, and I think my dog kind of knew something was wrong. He's like, and then there was this other thing. And I don't know if this was something or not. He goes, but my dog, she kept doing this thing where she would turn around real quick, like something was behind her. And she said that it kept on happening. It was like the entire week. He goes, so I don't know if her turning around or whatever. He goes, she still does that to this day. I'm not real sure. Well, she did it until the day she passed away. I'm sorry. She's he goes, she kept turning around and looking. He said that when she did this that day, he noticed something in the mirror. And it was black and dog-like, but it wasn't a dog. It definitely wasn't my Molly. He's like, and when it happened, Kevin was like, had run and was like underneath me, like in between my legs, and was shaking. And Molly ran out of the room. So he picks up the wiener dog and going, okay, are you okay? And he's like kind of wagging his tail and his eyes are all big and he's freaked out. So he takes Kev and he goes and puts him on the bed and he goes, I get dressed, I get, showered up, whatever. He's like, and I get ready for bed. He's like, I'm one of those people I shower before bed, and I like to keep my sheets clean. I don't, And so when I go to sleep, Molly sheds really bad. He goes, I don't let her on the bed to go to sleep on the bed with me. And since it's not fair, I don't let Kevin do it either, but I'll let him lay on the bed until I'm going to go to sleep, and then I'll make him lay on the floor. He says by morning, they're both on the bed. Never fails.
Of course.
Because he doesn't want to kennel them, and I understand that. And so he says they wait until I'm asleep, and then they attack me, right? The next morning, this is like 3 or 4 days after the incident where they disappeared. He says, I wake up, and I roll over, and Molly's laying right there, and I began to pet her. He goes, and then she comes around the other side of the bed and starts like pulling on the covers. And I roll over and I look, and there she is. And I'm like, damn, what the hell?
Who am I petting?
He's like, and then I jump up off the bed, and I'm looking, and I'm like, what was that? What did I just pet? And this I must clarify, this is the day that his daughter came, right? He's like, and I was excited. That was the day my daughter was coming. And he goes, and I don't know what I was petting. And I'm like looking, and Kevin is hiding under the bed. He won't come out from underneath the bed. He's like, when I notice this, I start to go and reach underneath the bed to pull Kevin out. And as I pulled, when I get toward the edge of the bed where he's almost where his head would be exposed, he bites me. Not hard, but just kind of like, let go of me. Then I turn and I look, and Molly's jumping around, acting weird. And he's like, what in the hell is going on here? Why is this dog acting this way? And why is this dog jumping around like she's playing with somebody or something? When I'm at the table with my daughter later that day, after we had gone for the walk and Molly had laid down and refused to move, he's like, I noticed something. I kept seeing something black moving in the corner of my eye. By dinner, he goes, I had this really weird feeling that we needed to hurry up and get back home. So I cut dinner short with the people next door the 2 houses down. They were good friends of ours. And I was kind of abrupt. I said, hey, you know what? I hate to cut dinner short, but I really got to go. And my daughter's like, well, what are we doing? What's going on, Dad? There's nothing going on. He's like, no, there is. I got to get home. And he said, if it felt like an excuse, it was, because I wanted to get home because I knew something wasn't right. So we're driving home, and my daughter's like, Dad, are you okay? And I call her, her name's Tiffany. I call her Tiff. He says, Tiff, I'm fine. I just feel like something's wrong. I need to get home. And she said, look, Dad, and she was very, very, very close with his wife. This was not her biological mother, but having lost her mother when she was young, this was the only mother she really knew. Her grandparents were very close with her. But it was, this was her mother, for all intents and purposes. And she says, since Mom died, you've been, a little different. And he said, I kind of snapped at her. I was like, wouldn't you be? That was the love of my life. He's like, you and her were the two most important people in this world, and now one of you is gone. And she says, I understand. He goes, and I felt bad. I kind of snapped at her. He's like, and then I get home, and I couldn't wait to get inside. Because I'll be honest, he goes, Molly was all I had left of my wife. My dog, Molly, was very close. Both of the dogs were really close with my wife. She spoiled them. She did everything for them. And Molly was only a couple years old when my wife left the earth. She always said, too, when she'd leave the house, she's like, if anything happens, take care of my dogs, right? She's like, she would cook for them other than the weekend. She said the weekend we would go out and we would do stuff. And she had this crafts room that we had turned from the garage into her little arts and crafts, whatever. And she would sell these. She made these like really cool designs, pot holders, and things that people would hang. She made money doing it too. People bought it. She was big. She'd go to these craft shows. And she said that the dogs loved her. She's like, we would have to take the dogs with us. And Sammy was fine. He was just a big old basset hound. He would just lay there. But Molly would get kind of agitated. He's like, but as long as she could see my wife, she was fine. He's like, if she could see Cora, that's her name. But he said, if he could see Cora, she was fine. And he said that if she kind of got out of range or something, then Molly would kind of freak out and act weird and rambunctious, and I'd have a hard time with her. And he said that he believes, and this is weird, but he goes, I think that if she would have taken Molly with her, maybe she wouldn't have died. Molly was a dog that was like was in tune with things. He's like, one time I was looking at my phone, not paying attention, and it was later in Molly's life. And she's like, she grabs my sleeve of my jacket and pulls me back onto the sidewalk, keeps her from getting run over. Like, not many dogs do things like that.
Yeah.
Another time, he's like, my daughter and her boyfriend took her to the vet. And this guy got out because over a parking space at the Walmart, got out and started trying to argue and fuss with them. And Molly, who's never been aggressive, nothing, got in between the guy and her boyfriend. The guy was twice his size and growled and threatened the guy. And the guy left. And then went back to her cheery, happy self. Things like that, you know? She was a special dog. He's like, but there was something wrong. He's like, that night when we went to sleep, he's like, I wake up to the most awful wailing and howling and growling. And I'm thinking, my dog, something's wrong with my dog. But it was in the backyard. And I look, and Molly and Kev are both laying there in their little dog beds asleep. They slept right next to each other. And Molly was very protective of Kevin. Kevin's a dumb dog.
Mm-hmm.
Molly's very smart, and she treated him like he was a special ed. It's wiener dogs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And she said he was just kind of stupid, you know, real sweet,
yeah, dogs
loving
aren't the
dog.
brightest.
But he wasn't one of those that peed all over the place, stuff like that. He told me he was a very good dog. He was very well mannered when he came. But he thinks that he credits Molly with that, like kind of raising him, you know. And that does happen. He said, but they're both in the little dog beds. What in the hell? What is that? He's like, so I get up and I go to the window and I look out. And there in the backyard, I see this black thing crawling. And it was like it had arms and it was moving on its elbows like this, dragging its legs behind it. And there was lightning. There was no storm. There was no rain or anything, but it was lightning, like it was about to storm. He's like, and I see this thing crawling on the ground. He's like, and I look and I'm like, what in the holy hell am I looking at? And he said, it looks over at me. He goes, and it had sort of like a muzzle, real rounded muzzle, short, but black with pointy ears. And the legs looked like it couldn't move its legs. And he goes, and I'm looking at this thing and I'm looking at, the only way he could describe it to me was a crippled werewolf. He's like, I don't know what this is. I don't know what I'm looking at. He's like, I run to the closet and I grab a flashlight in my jacket. And I run out there and I open the door and I shine the light and there's nothing there. It's like once I took my eyes away from it, it was gone. He's like, but I was emboldened enough that I actually walked outside. And I said, well, you weren't afraid that it was a werewolf? And he goes, no, it's a cripple. So I'm not worried about it because it looks like its back legs are disabled. I mean, you know, that's what it looked like. And I thought that's exactly why you weren't afraid.
That is kind of the scary
But I
part, though, to
told
me.
him, what if it was tricking you?
Or what crippled it?
Yeah.
Like, that's the scary thing.
Well, I think it would be a trick, but I don't know. He runs out to the backyard. He goes, and then it hits me. I'm like, well, what if this thing is tricking me? I said, yeah, exactly. Then he goes, I run back inside and I lock the door. I close it up. And then I go back upstairs and I lay there and it's like 3:30 in the morning. We hear that a lot. And I said, because I asked him, I said, what time was it? 3 something? He goes, yeah, like 3:30, 3:40. Yeah, okay. He starts to go to sleep. He goes, and then next thing you know, I can't sleep. I got insomnia. I look over at the clock and it's like 6 a.m. And me and my daughter had things planned to go do in town. And then I close my eyes and I already hear, I'm like, what? I open my eyes and my daughter's like, hey, I'm going to make some waffles. Do you want to whatever? He said, you can't make waffles. We don't have anybody to make waffles in this house. She goes, yeah, you do. He goes, no, we don't. I made sure of it. I don't want to be woken up with waffles or pancakes or anything else. So I locked it all away. She says, well, that's funny because I went to the store and I bought all the stuff and everything we need is right there downstairs. And he says, okay. And he goes, I was joking. We just didn't have anything. He's like, and I get up and I'm like, I'm so tired. And I look over and Molly's gone. And so is Kevin. And I'm like, well, where are my dogs? They're downstairs with my daughter, eating whatever she's careless enough to drop, obviously. He comes down the stairs, and there's Molly running up the stairs to greet him. And when he goes down to pet her, he looks down, and he sees something horrific. This is not Molly. This is something else. It looks like a wolf-like creature that's black and has like a little bit of white on its throat. And he's like, ah! And he goes, and I jumped back and I yelled so loud. He's like, you know, he goes, well, it was old school. This was years ago when this happened, but he said, I still got the newspaper. I was getting ready to go down and you open the door, go to the newspaper. Saturday morning, you know. And he's like, I don't know what I just petted. But it scared me so bad, I missed the last 2 or 3 steps and I almost fell. I went forward and I hit myself on the coat rack. And I look and whatever it was had zipped around the corner real fast. And then here comes my dogs. They're like, oh, hey, what's up? And I'm like, what was that?
Petted something.
What did I just touch? What did I just pet? What was that? I stand up and I'm like, hey. I'm like, Tiff, hey, you know. She comes in there and she's like, Dad, are you okay? She got a little apron on. She's making, you know, waffles. And he's like, no, I'm not. And she comes over there and she's like, Dad, sit down. You look pale. He goes, yeah, I probably am. I just touched something. I don't know what it was. So she sits him on the love seat there. And she's like, oh, I'm going to be right here in the kitchen, you know? And he's like, I'm looking over there in the kitchen and I'm watching her and I'm like, what was that? He goes, and my dogs don't realize anything. They're just playing, whatever. He goes, and then I hear them roughhousing or whatever. And I look over and I'm like, knock it off. And I see whatever this is, this black thing moving all around my dog, Molly.
Oh, no.
And Kevin is right there next to me on the couch, like observing it with me. And I look down and I'm like, what are you doing? What is that? He goes, and I stand up and I'm like, Molly! And I scream and she stops. And whatever it was went around real quick and went out the back door and was gone into the backyard. And at this point, he's like, I am just petrified. I'm terrified. And I told my daughter, I said, Tiff, something's wrong. He's like, I don't know if it's in my head. I don't know what's going on, but I just saw something black, like a shadow moving around Molly. She says, okay, you know what, Dad? You know what? Why don't we go eat breakfast somewhere? Let me just, she turns off the waffle maker and everything. He says, why don't I just take you to breakfast? There's a place there in town I like to go to. And Ben goes, okay, fine. She's like, well, put some clothes on. You know, you're in your pajamas or whatever, your robe. And he sits down. He goes, I sit down in my favorite recliner, and I told her, I said, look, I'm fine. I don't need to go eat somewhere. Let's just finish doing what you're doing. I'm fine. But he wasn't fine, and something was really wrong. And if you're an animal lover, you're going to know this. When something is wrong with one of your animals, you feel it. If you're like me, you feel it. This is why this story hit home to me. Talking to this guy too, I could feel it in his voice. It was like an inflection there that just seemed to resonate with me. Like he was really, he remembered this very well. The emotion, and I'm trying to relay it as best I can. I'm trying to put myself into that position, and I know that it would freak me the hell out, but I would be aggravated too, because there's nothing that will violate you more than something messes with people that you love or your pets that you love. And this is going to get kind of, whatever. He's sitting there eating breakfast, and he's telling her what had just happened, what happened when he woke up and he went down the stairs. When he woke up, he thought he heard growling, very loud, guttural growling in his bedroom. Right after the knock, she closed the door. He's like, I heard something growl. I looked down, and Molly's not in the only her could have growled like that. He's like, she was the only one. She's not there. She's with you. So is the wiener dog. What am I, what's going on here? What's up, babe? How you doing? He's like, I feel like something is trying to gaslight me. I go down the stairs, and there's something there that looks like this wolf-like creature. And then he tells her the night before, you know what I saw? He said, I saw this wolf-like creature walking on its elbows through the backyard like its legs weren't working. I don't understand what was going on there. Weird, right? He's like, and then I see this thing on the stairs, and I touch the top of its head. The hair was very coarse, and it was not like anything that I had ever felt before. And thank you to everybody who donated. And you too, Abe. Thank you for everybody. Sean, August, Rebecca, Lucky the Beagle, and Molly, and Paula. Anybody and everybody who donates, thank you so much for helping out and keeping the show going and making it what it is. We really appreciate any help we can get. But the dog, whatever this was, it seemed like the dog was the focus. It seemed like Molly was the focus of this being, of this thing. He said, when you sat me down, he's like, I witnessed something playing with Molly. And his daughter, Tiff, was like, I thought that was Kevin. I thought that was, they were playing. He's like, no, he was next to me. He was on the left side of me. He was shaking like something was scaring him. She's like, well, Dad, it can't be that bad because obviously it's not bothering Molly. Then he thinks back to that day, and he's like, what followed my dog home? What was it that my dogs went into the woods after? He's like, so I decided to go for a walk that night. I told my daughter, I said, can you stay here and watch the animals? He's like, I'm just going to go in the backyard and do some stuff in the backyard. He goes, I just made up an excuse about the sprinklers, whatever. And my daughter's on the phone with her boyfriend and not paying attention. And she goes and whatever. He goes, and I put on my jacket and I took off walking down the trail behind my house. And I get to the point where my dogs had disappeared. And I knew there was something there. He goes, something stepped out on the trail behind me. He said, in my life, I had one weird thing happen to me. He goes, I saw the ghost of my great uncle and my grandmother sitting in the back seat of our car on the way to my grandpa's funeral. I saw his brother and I saw his wife, which would be my grandmother who had died 2 years before. I saw them sitting in the back. And I was terrified to get in the back of the car because I saw their ghosts. He goes, after this incident, another weird thing did happen to me. And I'll tell you what it is. He believes that he saw something that looked like Bigfoot near Texarkana. But that's a story for another day. But up to this point, he goes, I had only seen that. I had never had anything else happen, but I did see those ghosts. And it didn't scare me once me and my brother got into the back seat of the car. And I realized maybe it was just my imagination. He's like, but then my brother, years later, my brother tells me, he's like, you remember when we saw Grandpa and Uncle Ray in the back seat? And he's like, you saw it too? And he says, yes. He's like, I knew that I wasn't crazy at that point, and it was real. We were teenagers at that point. We were out fishing. And so he tells me, he says, I go to this spot. He goes, and when I get there, I hear footfalls, something behind me, and I'm facing the trail going toward my house. And my instinct was to take off running. He's like, and so I began to walk really fast. Whatever this was, I didn't hear the footfall. I didn't feel like it was following me, but I knew something was there. And once I got toward the backyard near my privacy fence, I turned around, and what I saw standing there on the left side of the trail with like 1 foot in the reeds or in the grass and 1 foot on the trail, he said, I saw this thing that looked like a black furred werewolf. I couldn't see the legs, but I could see the bottoms of the legs, if that made sense. I didn't see the thighs. He goes, I couldn't see the knees. I just saw what looked like the ankle on one of the legs, and then the top part of the other leg. It was like the bottom part wasn't filled in. It was like a half of a drawing. He's like, and this thing looked weird. It looked really weird. He said, what it looked like to me was if you were to take a black dog with white on its chest, and it did look dog-like, not so much wolf-like. And it looked like it was part human. And it was standing there looking at me, and it had these glowing blue eyes. He's like, and I blinked my eyes, I opened them again, and this thing was gone. Thank God. Thank God that whatever the hell that was gone. I don't know what that was, but I ran back inside my house. At that point, my daughter says, what's going on? You weren't in the backyard. He said, oh, no, I had to check something, He's like, she's like, Dad, you're lying. He sits down at the kitchen table. And he tells her, look, Tiff, I don't know what's happening. I'm having a nervous break or something. I don't know what's going on. Mental breakdown. I just saw something that looked like, for all intents and purposes, a dog standing on 2 legs. But I couldn't see the legs. And she's like, wow, okay, so you just saw a dog on 2 legs, but you couldn't see the legs, and it was standing back there, and yesterday you saw one crawling on its knees, and then you petted one that was on the stairs, and then it was playing with Molly. She's like, Dad, come on. This sounds completely, he goes, I know. It sounds utterly stupid, sounds crazy. He's like, but I'm telling you the truth. This is what it is. He's like, thank goodness my daughter had a childhood friend that she had there in Arkansas that she played with for years. For years, she would come and she lived right down the street.
Close friend of the family.
Very close friend of the family. They were originally from Arizona, so my daughter's friend's nickname was Arizona. And over the years, her nickname became Zona. And everybody called her that. It was just it was just a nickname that my wife gave her. She called her Arizona because she was always talking about how she missed living in Arizona. Me personally, I told him this. I said, Jeremiah, having been to Arkansas multiple times and having been to Arizona multiple times, I'll take Arkansas any day. Arizona is gross. Ew. Except for Flagstaff area, and then that place is just weird as shit. So, I mean, you know, but, you know.
Brother.
Yeah, Arizona. Brother. Brother, why would you live there? Who would live in that place of the desert? Right? Weird people live there, right? Anyways, Arkansas is very beautiful. The Ozarks, if you drive through there, I swear it's all trees. You remember, Tony, we drove through there.
Mm-hmm.
On the way back to the first conference, on the way to and back to the first conference, drove clear across Arkansas. It's all trees.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Beautiful. But anyways, this kid, obviously weird. I think her name was like Kylie or something like that. But
got some issues.
She had some issues. Yeah, she was all like, they called her Zona. And he tells her, he says, you know, every summer when you come to stay or spring break, Christmas vacation, he's like, are you going to go hang out with Zona? You know, she's getting ready to leave for the military. And she said, yeah, actually, you know, I'm going to talk to her today. We're going to go eat lunch together. And he's like, oh, that's cool. And he said, you know, every fiber of my being wanted her to ask Zona about what was happening to me. Reason being is because this kid, Zona, was psychic. He goes, and we knew it from an early age. He's like, one time she was sleepwalking, came and knocked on our door 9 o'clock at night, had been put to bed at 8, came over at 9 and was like nodding back and forth, pointed at my wife and says, your sister is in the hospital, call her, and then wandered off. Turns out my wife's sister was not in the hospital, so she was wrong. My wife's sister-in-law had just gotten into an accident and was in the hospital. And this happened. She told us before it happened. It had just happened. And we called, and then they said, well, and everything's fine. And then they called 30 minutes later and said she had just gotten into an accident. He goes, I believe it was just right around the time or maybe a little bit before. And Zona had no memory of this. She would sleepwalk. And then later she would have these dreams and they would come true. And she could even read people. Like she could feel when people were really bad or whatever. They had this weird volleyball coach who did something at one point, you know. And, you know, this was her friend. And she told her friend, she's like, stay away from that guy. I don't trust him. And then I think it was volleyball or tennis, something like that. Because he told me what it was. I can't remember. But anyway, it turns out the guy was a perv, creeper. And this was a guy from the next town over. And her friend, well, it wasn't her friend, her cousin she told her, she warned him, don't be around that guy. She just was around him one time. And she knew. He goes, and so I wasn't used to this, having these weird things happen like this. I was not accustomed to this bizarre, whatever this was. He's like, and then he's like, so I talked to my daughter later that night. Nothing happened. I fell asleep on the couch. I woke up and Molly was there like normal, sitting on my recliner, looking at me, knowing she wasn't supposed to be out there. And Kevin was up there with her. They were rocking back and forth because they love to do that. He's like, and I get up and I'm like, guys, get off of the recliner. He's like, and I told him again, get off the recliner. And then the recliner moved forward and they were launched off of it onto the floor. Just then, I hear the door opening. And I'm like, and there is my daughter with Zona. They come walking in. They're a year apart. Zona's a year older. They come in. She's like, "Hey, Dad." And he's like, "Yeah, something weird just happened." And there's Molly cowering right below the fireplace, and Kevin is in the fireplace trying to hide. Well, he's not the brightest. But anyway, he says, I'm like, something just happened. Something. And she says, he looks, Zona's still there in the entryway. And she's like this, holding her hands to her mouth. And she's like, don't be afraid. She goes, can you come outside? Can you come outside? Please come outside. Jeremiah gets up and he's like, okay, let's go outside. They walk outside and she's like, she grabs him and she says, you have something inhuman. It was standing there behind that recliner. He said all the blood drained out of this woman's face. She was half native. She was Hopi and white, right? Her mother was Hopi. Her dad was a white man. And she said she had very beautiful off olive skin, but she was pale, like white. Just there was no color. And she says, I'm going to say his last name, but she says, Mr. B, you need to get out of this house for a while. She's like, I'm going to come over. I'm going to help do a cleanse, but I need some help. I need some people that can help you. You have something that has attached itself to something or someone in that house. It's not you. And he's like, well, is it Tiff? And she's like, no, I would have known. She's like, no. And she closed her eyes and she put her hands on the walls and she pulled her hand away. And she says, it's not totally evil yet. And he's like, what?
What does that mean?
What are you talking about? It's not evil yet. You know, she's like, it's a territorial thing. It will be eventually a problem because it wants something you have. So they began to walk back to her house. Her mother was a seer too, because her dad was a medicine man years ago. Her grandfather, sorry. We go back to the house. He's like, and she says, you need to get your dogs and bring them with you. And they had a cat. He's like, well, what about Lucas? That's a little kitty cat, right? I think it was Lucas. I said, what about Luke? You know, she's like, don't worry about him. He'll be fine. He's like, yeah, but Molly chases Kay. She goes, don't worry about it. It'll be fine. They took the dogs. He goes, he brought the dogs out of the house and they stuck them in their garage. And then later he sees the cat just chilling. There's nothing at all. So this woman, Zona's mother, calls her sister and they get on the phone and then they begin walking through the house. They use sage, but they also pray and they're using holy water and rock salt and all this other stuff. He said they were doing all kinds of stuff. I didn't know what to think. He's like, I'm sitting out there in my SUV and I see something looking at me through the window of the den. And it looked PO'd. He goes, and it was that thing, that black thing with the white fur on its chest. He goes, I don't know what it was. So I asked him this. I said, can you give me any kind of, like, just give me a complete rundown description of it. The head of this thing, the way he described it honestly sounded like either like a border collie or like an Australian shepherd, right? With the pointy ears. It wasn't wolf-like, or maybe like a Malamute or something, you know what I mean? Or a husky. It was wolf-like, but it was more dog-like. And the back legs of this thing, obviously, he could never see the legs, the hind legs it was standing on. It was always like they were gone. And so he had this weird image of this thing in his head. He goes, I would close my eyes and it would become more human, right? Because usually when he saw this thing, it was like a black ball of fur. You know, it was crawling up the stairs. It was crawling in the backyard. The only time he saw it standing upright was when he saw it standing there on the trail. And remember, he couldn't see the legs. And he goes, and here again, I'm seeing this thing, but I don't see anything below the waist. He's like, there was something weird about this thing. It was not totally malevolent, but there was something. He couldn't put his finger on it. And he thought, this is so weird. So they come out of the house. This thing closes. This thing literally pulled away from the curtain, disappeared. When they come out of the house, he tells, I think her name was Lyra. He tells the mother, he says, Lyra, he says, look, I saw this thing here. And Lyra tells her, she says, me and your wife were very close. And she was very in tune to the spirit world, but you're not. And he's like, yeah, I know. I'm scared of it. Cora wasn't. I am. Tiffany's like, Dad, you're being a big baby. And it's like, look, this is an inhuman spirit, and it has attached itself to Molly. So they told him, they said, you need to leave your dog with us for about 4 or 5 days. She's like, and can you get a hotel or something? Because if you can, take Kevin with you. And then they also told him, can you take our cat? Which he thought was really weird. He goes, oh, so I'm supposed to take Lukey or Lucky or Lucas, whatever his name was. I'm supposed to take him and my wiener dog. I mean, they got along, but he goes, I'm going to be in a hotel for a few days because there's, this dog that walks around on no legs. He said it was a tough sell. And he's like, and I'm sitting there going like, okay, I don't know what to believe. Her husband, he's always working. He's like me. He's a workaholic guy. And he tells me, he says, look, man, just do what she says, brother. If this is what they said to do, do it. So I said, okay. I rent a hotel. My daughter says that she'll stay there at the house and help them with this cleanse that they needed to do. The woman that they brought in was from New Mexico. This was her sister-in-law, right? Her brother's wife. She comes. He's like, I see this woman and I'm thinking, I'll be honest, because my first impression was, this is bullshit.
She's just some hippie.
Yeah, she's just wearing turquoise and doing some kind of bullshit.
Crystals and stuff.
And he's like, what is this? This is new age BS. I don't believe in this. I'm a Christian. I don't need none of this. He says, look. And they said, oh, no. We believe in Christ. This is what needs to happen. They told him, they said, this thing has the potential to be very evil. And if it gets negativity from you, it's going to feed on the negativity. This is what they told him. Then it's going to change. It's not going to look like what it looks like right now. Because what this thing is, she goes, we suspect what it is something that's feeding off of multiple beings. And one of them is you. Right? So they go and they start doing the cleanse and do all this stuff. And he's in the hotel and he's like, I'm over here at the, whatever. And I'm just, I go to work, I come home to the home of the hotel, whatever. And I'm thinking, why am I letting these people in my house? But then again, why am I seeing what I'm seeing? On the third day, I get a call and they said to come back to the house. He's like, I walk into the house and they hand me this white stone and this black stone. And I don't know what they are. And they're like, telling me to put them in my hands and hold them together and do all this crap. He's like, and then they tell me that this thing, you have to order it out of your house because you are the person that is in charge of this house. And he says, in the name of Christ, you must leave my house, this and that, whatever. He says the back door was open. Right? When he does this, he goes, it freaking worked. The door slammed shut and I saw a black shadow run through the backyard and go through the fence and was gone. He said, and then it was over. My dog started acting normal again. I didn't see this thing anymore. He's like, I had a weird dream that I saw it in the mirror and it talked to me. And it basically told me goodbye. It said, I just wanted to be your friend. And he told this thing, I don't want to be your friend. And the thing turned and walked away. They did tell him that sometimes these things will take you'll pay a heavy price if you leave yourself open. And that's something that Abe C.S. talks about. We talk about it too, spiritual openings. He said that about 6 weeks later, he met a girl. He had met a woman. He's like, he was in his 40s at this point. He's like, he's met a girl, met a woman. He goes, and we started dating. And next thing you know, we're talking about living together. That was months down the road, but 6 weeks from this incident, he met her, right? Months later, they're talking about moving in together. He's like, and I come home and I can't find my weenie dog. He's nowhere to be found. I don't know where he's at. And the neighbors, I hear a knock on the door, ring doorbell, whatever. He goes, I go and I answer the door. And he's like, and there in a box is Kevin. And I'm like, what happened? And they were like, we don't know. The neighbor next door to you pulled out in their minivan and they hit him. We don't even know how he was loose. But we thought it best to come to you in person and tell you. And then he says, at that point, he goes, I'm thinking, how did he get out? How did that happen? He says, so my girlfriend's staying over for the weekend where she has to drive back down out of state. And he's like, and she gets awakened by this presence. She sees this black thing there hovering over her. And there were no legs. It was just like the upper body. She said that when she followed it, right, in her sleep, she said she came out of her body. She knew she was out of her body because she's very in tune to this kind of stuff. She's part native too. She's part Alabama. And people don't realize that's actually a tribe. But he's like, she followed this thing. And it took her to the woods. And there in the woods, this black thing with blue eyes pointed with a hand. When she wakes up, she's like, she shakes me awake. She's like, you got to wake up. She's like, Jeremiah, we got to get up. It's morning. We got to go to the woods. And he's like, what? And she's like, I saw something floating. She's like, it's that thing. And so he does. He follows his girlfriend out to the woods. She's got a shovel. He goes, and I have a rake. And I'm like, okay, half asleep here. It's 7 a.m. What are we doing here? And he's like, she's like, trust me. So they start moving stuff around, brush and whatever. He's like, we're just as likely to get bit by a rattlesnake as we finding whatever, and then there it was. She finds a skull. It was a dog's skull. She picks it up and she goes, look, and it was big. It was a pretty good sized skull. It looked like the size of a wolf's skull. And the back legs, you could see it. Everything was intact there. It was laying there. The back legs had been crushed. Something had happened to this animal, and it had been probably left there to die. The one leg was a little more, so he takes the bones and they take them to a vet. He's like, it's my veterinarian. My vet says, I can't tell you what this is by looking. I can tell you it's a canine, but I know someone who can help you. So a friend of theirs from the University of Arkansas says, yeah, this is a wolf hybrid. This is part dog, part wolf. We don't know who or what it belonged to, but it looks like it was well cared for. But then there was some sort of an accident or something, and then maybe it was just left to die. So there was this hybrid. Maybe somebody had tamed it to the point where they could feed it like it was, and then they just left it there. And he said, judging by the way that the bones looked, it had probably been decades. It had been there probably before any houses or anything was built there. This could have been basically from turn of the century, like 1900 even. So somebody had a wolf-dog hybrid, and they left it to die, maybe, or it was crushed. He said the way it looks, kind of like the bones, maybe it got caught underneath something, possibly a wagon wheel. There was a trail there at one time. People used that trail to go into Texas. Maybe it was, this is what he was told, that it was crushed underneath a Conestoga wagon and just left there to die. Because it wasn't shot. Nobody came and put it out of its misery. So maybe it just died there alone and whatever. So then he thought about it and he was like, what would explain the human aspect of it? That's where Lyra tells him, hey, this thing, the spirit of this thing attached itself to you a long time ago and had probably been watching you every time you walked down that trail. It was probably following you. He said, she didn't hypnotize me. He goes, it was nothing like that. He goes, but while we were talking, he's like, I stood up. He goes, I sat up in my chair and I said, holy crap. He's like, I remember. He's like, the first year we lived there, he goes, me and Cora, we were walking. And when I came back, I thought I saw something in the closet. In the coat closet. I saw things are always in the closet, right? You hear this weird, right? I was talking to somebody earlier about that today. And he goes, and I saw these blue eyes looking at me from the coat closet. He's like, and then for a couple of weeks, I kept hearing what I thought was like a person trying to talk to me or something, but I couldn't understand it. And I kept just going to sleep thinking it was my dog. And this is when they just had Sammy and another dog. He's like, that dog was, died years ago. But every now and then he goes, my other dog, I say that, I can't remember what he called the other dog's name. It was like a yellow lab. He said that it looked like it would be playing and there would be nothing there. And then he thought about it and he got angry. He's like, did this thing kill my dog? Did it kill Kevin? Was it angry because I didn't understand it? Or maybe I don't know. What did it do? And Lyra told him, she says, no, I don't think Kevin had anything to do with this. But I think when you reject something, I don't know. But she says, I honestly don't believe that this thing did that. She's like, but when there's something like this that's trying to manifest itself, to be seen, to be heard, to be known or whatever, there's always something else that comes in. Something evil. Something that kind of feeds off of the residualness of the want. That's something that most Christians, and I'm going to say this, and most Muslims, Abrahamic faith people, they don't understand this, nor do they believe it, and that's a problem. Because they don't understand the Buddhist philosophy. I'm not telling you to go be a freaking Buddhist. I'm not a zany zinny. I'm just telling you that there is something to this. Suffering comes from want. If something, whether it's a person or an entity or whatever, has a want, and it wants it so bad, think of the Grudge, right? Mm-hmm. These demonic entities are always there, just lurking around, waiting to siphon that energy, the vampiric nature of these beings. And tomorrow night, when you tune in to Blondes and Booze, watch what we talk about. We're going to talk about it again on Friday on this show. The vampire. Let me tell you something. The vampires that were captured by King Solomon, I say vampires because most of those goetic demons are vampires. They have names. In fact, the first 2 or 3 that came into captivity were vampiric demons. Maybe that's because vampires are demons and vice versa. These things are very opportunistic, and the want of a lost soul, wanting to be cared for, to be loved, to be treated the way that this thing wanted to be treated by the way he treated his dogs. I think people have this weird thing where they believe that it's like this, cut and dry. Everything is evil or good. But if you read about the jinn going back even before Islamic times, jinn could be neutral, evil, good, or neutral. And in fact, it wasn't until the last couple hundred years that we began to, all things that were are bad. They're bad. Now, hear me out. They're not all just bad, but they're not necessarily good because you don't know you need to avoid them. Don't make deals. Don't make friends. And tell them to take a hike. And I'm sorry that you're on the other side or whatever happened to you, but that's the stance you have to take. You know why? To protect yourself and your family and your loved ones and your pets. And I told him, I said, did you plead the blood of Jesus over your house? You said you did. He said, yes, I did. And I pleaded the blood over Molly. Huh. I said, what about the little guy? He said, you know, I didn't. He's like, but I got a feeling that the thing that was manifesting itself wasn't actually what killed my dog. I think it was something else. I said, I do too. And I said, why do you think that? He goes, because sometimes I see things now in the house, very, very rarely, but I'll see something in the corner of my eye, and it's malevolent. And it's got these red eyes. They're not blue. I feel like we ordered a specific entity out of this house, something that could have been built, not necessarily born. Would that make sense? That's what my words. I think you did that, Jeremiah. I think y'all ordered it out, but something else that came along, I think it was opportunistic. I think it killed his dog. He said, we had those bones cremated. We asked them if they could do that. And they said, well, we want to study them a little while longer. And then eventually he got a certificate and asked him if he wanted the ashes. And he said, yes. And he took them and he spread them out behind his yard. He said, I didn't feel like there was anything left for that from that particular incident. Strange case, but not totally unique either. Because this isn't the first time we've had pets, right, get attachments or become vampiric or do things because, after all, they are just animals that are like us. They live, they breathe, they have lives. And Edna says they are not our friends. No, they are not. But don't forget to plead the blood of Jesus over yourself, your spouse, your children, your relatives, whoever's living in the house in a physical manner, animals that you want to be there. You want to plead the blood of Jesus over the ants and the spiders and whatever. God forbid if you had roaches or bugs, or bed bugs or snakes, whatever, get them out of there. But everything else, yeah. And he blames himself. He says, I think Kevin died because I didn't, I don't know. But I told him this. I said, you have a new dog now? And he says, yeah, I have 2 new dogs. And sometimes they see things and they'll run and then they'll freak out and whatever. And I said, do what you got to do. Plead the blood of Jesus. He says, yeah, I've had, Lyra come with her daughter, Zona, and they've done things. But, he said that he hasn't had a lot of problems. He's now engaged. He said, we've been engaged for years. He goes, I figure we're going to get married at some point. We just haven't done it. And his new wife, she's very suspicious because she believes that what killed their dog, or his dog, was an attachment that followed her for years. And that's a whole nother story. The attachment that follows her, she calls it the brown man, because he wears a brown jacket, he's got brown skin, a brown hat, everything, and he just looks like one brown thing that her and her sister, and they believe that this is what came through. And they were saying a blessing over her house because he was telling her what happened. And then that weekend, they go back up to his place, and Kevin's dead. His daughter was there. She was like, I left to go run some errands, and I come back, and he's, I couldn't find him. I didn't see him, but I thought he was okay. She don't know how he got out. They don't know. But his daughter saw something very strange standing in the doorway. And it looked like what plagued his wife. I'm not going to say her name until I'm told, hey, let's do the story, and I'll do the story. And then I'll talk about what him and his wife saw when they were on the highway one time, pulling out of a campsite. Because he has a whole story about something else. Like I said, it was a Bigfoot-like creature. So there's still some meat on this bone, but what are your thoughts?
It just makes me kind of sad, but also like it's kind of infuriating, to be honest, because these things are just so evil, and to like this guy is just Jeremiah. He's really been put through the ringer. I mean, he lost his friend, lost his wife, lost his dog. I mean, it's kind of like a much milder version of Job, dude. I mean, he just keeps being afflicted and suffering, but he still keeps going on and keeps moving forward. And thank God for his daughter and his daughter's friend, Zona, they call her, right?
Zona,
yeah.
That's not her real name, but that's what they call
her nickname because she's from Arizona. But I mean, I hope he's doing well. I just where would this spirit come from though? Like that, I keep trying to wrap my head around that, because it's the spirit of like a wolf dog hybrid that was like killed or just left for dead in the woods. But what was that originally? Because if it's, I mean, if it was just a regular animal, then why is its spirit still there? Because if that's how it works, then there would be spirits of animals all over the forest all the time.
There are.
I mean, that's the thing. I was going to say it is a big forest. We don't wander, in it anymore. We live in cities and stuff, but
he was only like 3 or 4 feet from that trail.
Large,
and nobody's seen him. Nobody saw it.
Tracks of resentment and torment and like just pain. It breeds something hateful, and like that thing, like it was like they said, like it wasn't inherently evil, and it wasn't like evil yet, but it had that opportunity to become.
It could be
a big evil, based on all that like emotion of pain and stuff.
I think it was being parasitic too, by drawing energy from him and Molly.
You think it was seeking out like a form to take, but besides the kind of crippled form that it was? I mean, like, what was its end goal?
I don't know. I mean, because it never hurt Molly or Kevin. Kevin was terrified of it, but it was always playing with Molly. Molly was like friendly with it. For years afterwards, too. Oh man, bless you.
Thank you.
For years afterwards, too, like he said, Molly would look back like something would grab her tail or something, like playfully.
Yeah.
And he often wondered about it. But this thing, the brown man, which is what his wife, I was going to say his wife's sister's name. I don't want to say her name. I spoke to his wife, and well, her sister was in the background, but I spoke to them briefly. They were just tickled that I had some kind of show, and thank you for listening, and thank you for being a part of PRT. But they were just like, "You really do a show about that?" Like, I was like, "Don't you watch?" And they're like, "No, it scares the shit out of us," you know. So hopefully you weren't too scared listening to the show.
This is entertainment for you.
But I think they're going to catch the replay because they said they had to go do something tonight. But yeah, you know, you're here at PRT. You're used to hearing these kind of, you know, when we first started, people wouldn't touch this kind of stuff because they're like, well, this doesn't. It had to fit into a box. You know, everything had to fit into a little box, and if it didn't fit into that box, well, you didn't do it. And I like to think we just took the hammer to the box and beat the hell out of it, because you got to start thinking outside the box, you know. And I can't give you the answers to this. I don't know what the hell it was trying to do. You know, I do think that once again, it speaks to the very, very spiritual nature. And this is it's a very vibrant, vast, you know, tapestry, the spirit world. We don't know jack about it, you know. We like to think we do because it's very uncomfortable to not know, you know. The not knowing is, I would say that's the biggest fear that people have, is the unknown. You don't know what's going to happen, you know. You want to get a handle on it, you know. Now there is one way people are like, well, I don't want to know when I'm going to die. Right? They don't want to know if you're going to be quiet. You know, I go to the doctor and I come back with diabetes. I don't want that. I don't want to come back with cancer. You know, you want to know, right? You want to know if you're going to die. Some people, right? Other than that, I think the unknown is pretty much a terrifying thing for everybody.
Yeah.
They want to know. Like, if you're going to jump into the water, you want to know if there's an alligator or a shark in there, don't you? Mm-hmm. The unknown of swimming, and you're going, I don't know what's down there. You know, I remember being at the lake one time with Ivan. I've told this story before, and I was swimming, and this big shadow swam underneath us, and then we find out that there are catfish the size of Volkswagens down there at the dam. Mm-hmm. And there me and Ivan are swimming out there like bait.
Yeah, I think it'll swallow you up.
And Ivan was like, whoop, he just started going to the shore. He's a dog, so he swam really fast. And even though y'all know I'm a hell of a swimmer, folks, I am a good swimmer.
Yeah.
If you hear about me drowning, somebody drown my ass, because I can swim. These two can attest. I used to swim a mile a day, every day or every other day. Yep. And I'm talking breaststroke. I'm talking.
And that was after we did a full workout.
Oh, yeah.
Like after we did a full upper body or leg workout.
Backstroke, dog paddle. I can swim all kinds of ways. I can swim underwater. I'm like a seal. You know, some people will call me a walrus. Hey. But no, I saw that and I said, okay. I just started swimming and I was looking down going, what was that? This is freshwater. But still, you know, my dog was like, ooh, okay, I'm out of here. And he was cool enough to kind of look back to see if my dumb ass was following, you know. But he had to save himself first, you know. He's like, look, I got to save myself. I mean, there's something going to kill us. And I thought, we're out here in the middle of this water. And it was a long ways from shore, about 200 yards on either side.
Yeah.
Now, you're way out there. But it didn't bother me. Like, I could swim like a fish. I didn't have my goggles or anything, but I was trying to look to see what that was. But when some big shadow the size of a car goes underneath you, you know, it's
time to go.
The unknown. I was scared. I had been out in the ocean like that before. I didn't see something do that. Like I said before, I was out, you know, when it was about chest high when I was a kid, and I saw a shark. At least I saw it, and I knew it was there. This was worse than that because I don't know what that was. So the contrast is there. It's like, the unknown is very scary. I've told you guys a story before, you know, and I'm going to tell it eventually. Defeat. The things that I saw, the things that had the feet, all I saw was the feet. Keith's house. Yeah. I've told you that story. I have not told this story before on the show, and I thought I did. But when I was talking to you, Tony, and Anthony, and Maddie, y'all were like, no, I don't think you've told that story. I had a friend, it's sort of a weird synchronicity, because I had a friend from Westlake that saw something very similar to what I saw, but I will tell you that story. I'll just call the story The Feet, because I don't know what it was. But that scared the hell out of me because you don't know what that is. So the unknown is a very, very it's one of those intangibles that it's just a scary thing. It's a scary thing. Tapping on the window at night, something's there. Maybe it's a tree branch that you forgot that there was a tree, or maybe it's Bigfoot, or maybe it's the Jersey Devil. You don't know what it is. I mean, that's the scary part about it is that, and what the hell is it with closets?
Yeah,
Why do we always have somebody telling us? Today, literally, my wife was on the phone with a friend of ours, and she was talking about her daughter and her son seeing something in a closet. And I said, yeah, because there's always something in there.
They're tiny dark boxes, like cubes.
The cube shape is probably the worst, but the way that we have built our reality is the only thing we can do to make it stand out differently, because everything is circular, right? So we're like, you know what, we're gonna make it into a cube. We're gonna stack them together and make it. And I think that was given to us by the archons as a mimic of our prison, because they've imprisoned us. The circle is it's like freedom. It's open. That's why there's the yin yang, And if you talk to anybody who knows, you heard that? What the hell was that? But if you talk to anybody who knows, they'll tell you. And the cube kind of represents something else, like a prison. So, anyways, tomorrow we're going to be on Blondes and Booze, and we're going to talk about the Gypsy Rose case. If you're not familiar with it, it's really freaky, and I'm going to introduce a person that I'm hoping that will become a regular new co-host, not necessarily for PRT, but somebody that I'm probably going to be having on the Random Files, because we're going to start doing true crime. But it's not going to be true crime in the way that you think. We're just going to go, oh, and then they did this and they did that, and everybody's beat it to death 1,000 times. And we're going to go back over all of these different miscreants and what they did and how they did it. And I'm going to give you the spiritual perspective on it. And I believe this person is the one that can help me do it. So I'll be introducing her tomorrow night on Blondes and Booze. So I think it's going to add another element to the whole Paranormal Roundtable family, the show, everything. With the new show, Dead Zone Transmissions, what do you guys think of that?
It's really awesome. I've heard a couple. I heard one where it was basically like this pig demon was like hanging above the stage.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, when the kid was trying to tie his
really,
shoes.
very creepy.
because the kid was throwing a fit or whatever.
The gray man one was really creepy too.
Yeah,
The
they
one-
all
in the
the
basement,
mirror.
The doctor in the cemetery. I thought that one when she was working on it, and
Yeah.
I was listening to bits and pieces, was very good as well. It takes a lot of effort.
And these are people's stories. These
They're
aren't. This
real.
isn't made up.
I
crap or
recognize a couple
whatever,
of them.
AI
Yeah, it's not
crap,
like some
whatever.
fictional something like
No.
people send these in.
No, but we have so many though here at PRT too. She was asking, you mind if I say I don't just, we have a bunch, because back in the early days I made a lot of deals with a lot of people, and I got access to a lot of stuff, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everybody who's been there to help us, the NADP, the IDP, multiple Bigfoot groups. Thank you to everybody. Everybody who's been there to help us and foster our growth. Josh Shinogia, What Lurks Beneath. There's too many people to even name or mention. There's so many people who've helped us and allowed us access to their libraries, and people who have sent us, the countless people who've sent the people who listen to the show, who send us their witnesses. That's one of the best, because these people don't necessarily listen to the show, but they'll give you their encounter because somebody vouches for you.
Mhm.
And that's important, because I start talking to somebody and they're like, who is this weird damn dude? I mean, like, who the hell are you, dude? But when somebody tells you, they're like, hey, you can trust this guy. He's not some lunatic. Well, he is, but he's harmless. Just give him your story, That's it. Jones says, looking for a Rumble for the truth. What we're going to do with Rumble, we haven't forgot about it. We're going to start. Y'all need to get on the ball and upload all of the shows onto Rumble. There's a whole audience there. And that's what we need to do. We're going to just start throwing all these shows onto Rumble. And everything that's pre-recorded is going to go to Spotify too. We are going to be doing a show that may end up being a Spotify exclusive. It's part of a deal that I may end up I'm not going to say anything yet because I don't know yet, okay? Because we don't know what the future holds. But let's put it this way. We have turned down a couple of game-changing deals. And I'll tell you why. Because we didn't know we were going to be broke. That's the whole truth right there. Like, we didn't know we were going to be broke. Goodbye. See you, suckers. I'm joking. We would not.
We're going to make it out here.
Never do that to you. We would never do that to you unless the money was right. I'm joking with that too. I'm kidding. No, seriously, what happened was we were offered a certain amount of money to do a certain thing. And I was just like, we thought about it. And I was like, like that would be good. But I think there's a lot more growth there. And then you lose control of what you built. Because I love you and I don't want to just turn PRT over to someone else telling us what to do, what to say. We got to wear the sheepskin and be like, okay, man, and I just can't do that. I'm not.
It's like the equivalent of becoming a 501c3, entity.
That's exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. We could have sold. Let's put it this way: we're not sellouts.
Yeah.
And you'd be, if somebody came along and said, we'll give you this much money, and the contract was right, then you could say, okay, fine. But if they put a clause in there, a non-compete where you can't start another channel for 5 years, then forget it. Because that way, if it doesn't work out, we'll keep this and I'll go start something else and I'll go build another, whatever. But that's not really what they want. They want to have that. They want to have you about the balls, what they want. And then they want you to do what they say. They're like, we see you have a lot of potential. We want to fuck it up. I mean, right? It's basically what it is. And I'm just not willing to do that. Just like I wasn't willing to sell your beard oil that broke your beard, that made your beard break. That sounds so weird because it's like your beard ain't supposed to break.
Yeah.
My brother goes, is this normal? Like, well, hell no, it's not. Hell no, it's not normal. We're not gonna, what the hell was that? My beard just broke, literally. And I gotta say something about my brother here. Thank you for that donation. We appreciate that. My brother would be one of the main people on this show because me and him really started this journey together. And just for the record, people have asked me why he's not as a big a part of this. Does anybody not know the story? My brother was stabbed in the throat. I mean, do y'all know that, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about y'all, but the audience. And so Tony and Anthony know this. My brother's got a big old gash where his throat was. And my brother was doing something heroic. And I got to give him credit. I was driving and we were leaving. We were on 6th Street. I've probably told the story before, but he jumped out to stop a guy who was getting beat to death. And we saved that guy's life. I say we because I did stop in traffic and help him because these guys started attacking my brother. My brother got stabbed in the throat. And so his voice is like, it's really bad. His voice changed after that. And that was it. And so I'm the voice now, and so I'm the one that did it, and, one day he got really mad at me and he was like, yeah, it was supposed to be me. And, I was just staring at him like I didn't give a shit. I was like, I'm just glad it happened to you, not me.
I'm the fist of the North Star.
That's not what happened. That is not what happened. He knows that I'm playing. I love my brother, but he did start this with me. We did this together. And then, because of his, situation, and believe it or not, he used to be a lead guitarist and a singer in a band. And he was this close to signing with a record label out of LA. And right before that happened, fate intervenes in weird ways, just like what happened to me with football and fighting. Good thing I quit the fighting, before, because who knows if I'd have the brain now. You know, and I was talking with my brother the other day, and he goes, our lives just didn't turn out. You know, you were supposed to be playing ball or boxing, whatever. I was supposed to be, a musician. And I said, dude, God has other plans, right? And you just adapt and you change and you do whatever it is that you got to do. And I, as much as I would have loved to have him, to be right here with me and doing this, but he can't talk very good and he can't talk for very long. And so that changed everything. So, it is what it is. But he still does a lot of research, and he does do as much interviewing and talking to people as he can. And a lot of typing, because he can type, And so shout out to my brother, and he's one of the people that encouraged me to keep going and to do this. And I was like, well, we were supposed to do this together, But I wish he could be more a part of the show, but he can't, That's just the way it is, and I'm sorry that that's the way it is. But yeah, that's where PRT is, and that's what we're doing. And so we have the Dead Zone transmissions, and Nellie's knocking them out and bringing them. Please go like and subscribe. Could somebody drop the link there for the Dead Zone transmissions? She needs some subscribers. It's good stuff. It really is. And we're going to start using, I know we said this, but last year we just put it on the back burner. But this year, this is going to be the beginning of it right here, the Gypsy Rose thing. And then after this, we're going to start talking about another case, and that's going to be on the Random Files. You're not going to want to miss this, because we're going to do true crime on Random Files, along with a lot of other different subjects. But we're going to do it from the spiritual aspect, the spiritual, whatever, like what this is. We're going to get to the bottom of these things. And somebody tried to bait me. They tried to message me about these numbskulls or whatever. What numbskulls? Ooh, what are we talking about? Do these people have relevancy? Are they relevant in any way to my life? No. So let's not even go there. Okay. Let them stew in their own pot of gumbo of hatred. Could care less. There it is right there. Davey Jones says, go Seahawks. Go Seahawks until you go Super Bowl and face my Texans. Now, if you play the Broncos or the Patriots in the Super Bowl, I'm going Seahawks all the way, brother. But if you're facing my Texans, different story, brother. Otherwise, I have no teams left. I got nobody. The only team I like a second, even close, is the Bills. I would love to see the Josh Allen and the Bills win the Super Bowl, but not at the expense of my Texans.
Yeah.
But I want to see the Bills beat the crap out of Denver. I don't like the Broncos for nothing. And I don't like the Patriots for nothing. So I hope that the Patriots and the Broncos go down and the Bills go to Houston, and that's the championship. So even if we lose that game, at least a team that I like, kind of, is going Super Bowl. But in the NFC, I like the Seahawks more than any of them other shitheads. I can tell you that. I don't like San Francisco or LA for nothing either, dude. The Bears, I'd like to see them, but I know it's not going to happen. So I'm not even worried about it. So it's going to be one of those three guys, teams from the NFC West. I'll take the Seahawks all day. And I do believe that whoever has to face the Seahawks in this next round, it's going to be San Francisco, right? They're going to get their ass beat. That's what's going to happen. So go and place your bets, whatever. Jessica said Patriots. Ooh. What?
What is that?
Just tastes like shit. It is shit. Sorry for the potty mouth. I just can't. The Patriots, I can't stand them. I can't stand them. And the worst thing that could happen is if the Patriots and the Bears play the Super Bowl again. I don't want to. I saw it in '85. I don't want to see it again. I'm sick of the Patriots. I don't want to see them. I don't want the Patriots to ever go anywhere near the Super Bowl ever again. I don't want to see them in the AFC Championship. It could be the year 2337, and I don't want to see them in there. We could be in the Space Olympics, and I don't want to see the Patriots.
Yeah, they've been in there enough.
That's it.
Tom Brady has
like
played.
the Yankees of the football world.
At this point, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Alabama in college football. I hate them, dude. Because I'm just sick of them. I don't want to see them. The Lakers in basketball. Like, yeah, dude, I don't want to see you, man. I don't want to look at you. Don't go away. The Yankees in baseball, Alabama in college football. I'm sick of it, dude. I'm sick. I don't want to see the same shit over and over again, dude. Like, and the other teams should do better. Well, maybe the refs should stop helping too. How about that? Patriots got way too much. They were just every time you watched them play, you knew they were going to cheat. It's funny that they cry about the Chiefs. Now, I admit the Chiefs. I got so tired of seeing the Chiefs. A diehard Cowboys fan, I rooted for the Eagles. I wanted the Eagles to spank the Chiefs because it was like they were spanking the NFL and, Kelsey and his girlfriend.
Yep.
Stephanie Swift or what's her? No, who is that?
Who cares?
Taylor Swift.
Whatever.
And I always call her Stephanie. She looks like Stephanie to me. She looks like one. I don't know.
Tyler Swift.
Tyler Swift. She looks like a dude, man. I don't know. Whoever she is, she's the name. I don't know the name. She's gross and weird and vampiric and pale and whatever. I'm glad that she's
And her music sucks.
Her music sucks. I'm glad she's not in the Super Bowl, whatever. And I'm glad that Mahomes didn't make it to the Super Bowl. So he didn't make the playoffs, thank God.
He's probably going to start taking a knee now whenever the national anthem plays.
Taylor Swift. So the one team that I don't mind if the Chiefs eventually come back around, but the one team I don't ever want to see anywhere near the Super Bowl once again is I'd say two, 49ers and the Eagles.
Yeah.
I don't want to see y'all anywhere ever near the Super Bowl ever again. In fact, I just hope that those organizations implode. They just fold. They're like, San Francisco is such a trash city that we no longer they cannot support a team. And then Philadelphia, the whole city just closes down under martial law and they make everybody leave and move somewhere else. Start over. Just level it, start over.
Or they just build a wall around it, keep them there so they can't spread out to other places, and they don't let them vote.
Yeah, exactly.
That'd be great. That'd be perfect.
So let's do that. Let's get together and let's will it into existence. Let the Texans go to the Super Bowl and all the other teams fall by the wayside, especially the 49ers and the Rams. And the Rams are another one I can't. You move them to LA and then you put them in the Super Bowl. Basically what you did. I said they were going to do that, didn't I? And they did.
Yeah.
They did that. But that's okay. That's okay. Whatever it takes, right? Whatever it takes for the demiurge to be happy. Whatever. For the Mandela effect and all the Matrix babies. It's all good. All right, folks, thank you for being here and being awake. Not woke, but awake and knowing what's going on. Thank you for making PRT what it is, which is the best channel on YouTube, on Spotify, on every platform, even if people don't know it. And not enough people know it because they suppress us. But that's fine. We're still here, right? All right, guys, we'll see ya. We got to run. Before we go, though, are we going to do a giveaway or what are we doing? Are we going to give something away?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it then. Folks, what do you guys, we got hoodies, we got shirts. It's hoodie season, right? Let's do a hoodie. Who wants a hoodie? Now, if you win, here's the banner right here. Please, send the email to giveaways@prtpodcast.com at the bottom of the screen. Do that at the very bottom of the screen. You see where it says giveaway winners? Please send your name, address, and shirt size. And give us the primary color that you want because what do we have? We have green and red. We have blue and red.
Purple and green.
Purple and green.
Blue and red. Yep, you said that.
We've shown them all on a past. Do we have the hoodies?
Not up here.
Not up here? We don't have. I thought we had a box of them that we were just to show everybody what they were.
No, we gave them. We took them back.
And so if you want to win a hoodie, tell me right now. If you have, first of all, people who haven't won. So if you haven't won, tell me you haven't won, and let's get it going here with you. Let's get you a hoodie. And like Elastic Machinery says, don't forget to visit Paranormal Soundtable. Please go to Paranormal Soundtable and please subscribe to Paranormal Soundtable. We made stickers now for that. They're going to be thrown into the swag bags. So we got the Bear King and geez Louise.
Oh, the Flying Dutchman.
Flying Dutchman. Yeah. Jessica says, I want a pink hoodie. Jessica, have you won?
I would say between Jessica and Rebecca.
Well, it's Angel Tea Garden says, I've never won. The Jessica, you know what? Jessica, you are if your name is in green, I'm not going to say you're going to win, but because you're a member, by way of being a member, if there's a tiebreaker, I'm going to give it to you. Jessica, you want a pink hoodie? If you haven't won a hoodie, if you have a hoodie already, I can't justify giving you another hoodie because I got a lot of other people who want a hoodie. But if you haven't won a hoodie, send your information down to the giveaways at prtpodcast.com. Davy Jones says, every knee will bow and every tongue will confess that Jesus is Lord. Yes, they will.
Jessica says she won a shirt but got a hat.
Okay, Jessica, then we'll send you a hoodie. We need another winner. We got to get one more. Somebody here. Come on. Angel Tea Garden says, I've never won. Now, Angel, by the way of you having had, me clicking on there, I'm going to give it to you. All right. So just follow the prompt at the bottom, giveaways. Please do not send it to the email, Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. Please don't do that because it is, I cannot, I might move it over to the giveaways. I might not. I just don't have time and it clutters up my email. I empty that email religiously every day. Like every day I go through the middle of the night and just put everything and move it over. It's like sometimes as soon as it hits, I'm moving stuff over to my files. Okay. Because the storage is now filling up on that thing again. You saw that, Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
That's a problem. So I am trying not to have to buy more storage space. And it's not all stories. Sometimes it's I get a lot of offers to do stuff and people come on the show and blah, blah, blah. But yeah. All right. So those are the winners for tonight, folks. We'll be back tomorrow night, though, on Blondes and Booze at 8:00. Blondes and Booze. Mark your calendar because it's the beginning of the 3-part with Gypsy Rose. And we're not just going to talk about that. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff because there was this weird vampiric demon element going on there that the mainstream is kind of glossing over, of course, but I think that's the main culprit. So we're going to get to the bottom of that, hopefully. And then, like I said, we're going to start working on some stuff on the Random Files. If you have not subscribed to the Random Files, put the thing to the Random Files on here because it's going to get a lot of love this year. That is going to be where we're going to do a lot of work. We're going to do some stuff on there because PRT is loaded already. We got some of the every Tuesday, Nellie's going to grace us with one of her episodes from the Dead Zone transmission. So you're going to get one on here on Tuesday when we don't do anything on Tuesday. And then you're going to get a song or two every now and then. We're going to throw it up here on Paranormal Roundtable. But most of the time, it's just going to be live streams and pre-records of me retelling people's encounters or people coming on and telling their encounters. And that's what we're going to do. I thought Monday's show was pretty good. I had to run because I had to go to work and get some stuff done. And then I tried to hurry up and get home and watch the recorded game. I don't get a lot of time to myself, but, hopefully I will this Sunday. So I believe that, the Texans play on Sunday. So I'm going to try and get to watch that on Sunday. You'll see me if I'm in a good mood or not, right? Subscribe to the Random Files. There it is right there. Subscribe to Paranormal Soundtable. So I need you to do that, please, folks. Paranormal Soundtable, the Random Files. Like and subscribe this show. Like and subscribe to that show. And then please go to the Dead Zone transmissions. And that is on everything, isn't it? Like TikTok and
YouTube, Instagram, TikTok,
everything.
Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Oh, and also show them what the group looks like. Please go and subscribe to the Paranormal Roundtable group. Also, Conspiracies and the Mandela Effect, that group, that's our group too. Join the group. I post in that group regularly. Both of those groups. I love that conspiracy group. And I am the main admin. Well, my wife and me.
That's what our group looks like.
That's the Paranormal Roundtable group. That one is the main group. And then we also have the page. Show them the page. Paranormal Roundtable page.
And that's what the page looks like.
So go and subscribe to those, please. So thank you to everybody who showed up. Thank you to everybody who donated. And I appreciate everybody being here. And good night.
Nervousness born from the earth, my madness came by storm. I heard heaven and hell, but how can I be mad? Across the table, I'll tell you the tale. I wanted for nothing from the old man, not even gold. I'll tell no lie, it was the old man's eye. A veiled pale blue eye, peering into it, my blood ran cold. And my heart is where I hold a secret plan for this old man. A descent into madness, it cannot be, it was the old man, not me. A pounding, a beating, the heart kept screaming. They think me mad, but how for madness knows nothing. I sit here, my mind clear, this tale I tell. Are these the sounds from hell? 7 days I crept planning, but never did the eye reveal itself till that night. A slip, a sound, awakened did he, but I could not flee. I felt his fear that we tried to comfort and steer his dread, for he lay back in his bed. In flash I jumped on him, dragging him down. Now no more sound, he lie there, dead on the ground. A descent into madness, it cannot be, it was the old man, not me. A pounding, a beating, the heart kept screaming. Both fear and glee swept over me. No one would ever find the body. Sometime now they came, sat chatting, but I could hear it, the heart beating. It grew louder and louder, I could no longer contain myself as I slid the chair. They still stayed there, not leaving, my anxiety rising. Could they not hear the beating heart coming from beyond the dark? No longer could I stand it, came my admittance. Here it is, the beating of his hideous heart. A descent into madness, it cannot be, it was the old man.